And I'll never
Oh,
tell that joke again.
that's never happened before, and it never will again. Hey, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen,
we're
I'm
on.
so glad you were able to join us here
What are
in
the
our
odds?
live coverage of the final episode of season 1 of Alien Earth.
Alien Oith.
Joining me today or tonight or whenever it is you're watching is and bringing the awkward uncle vibes is
That's no way to talk about yourself,
my
Brian,
good
but I'm
friend
here too.
Phil.
Oh, hi. You were talking about me. Yes, it's wonderful to be here once again for our wrap up on our first season.
And Phil,
And
you're a storyboard artist, a cinematographer, an independent filmmaker, a puppet master.
I dabble. My fingers are in many pies, and I don't want to carry that metaphor any further. So yeah, and Brian, of course, a story editor, writer, and all around quite brilliant with understanding structure and scripts in general and
Well,
storytelling in general.
I have my moments, Phil, and I thank you for noticing them.
Um,
Well, hopefully we'll have a few regarding Alien Oith.
yeah, no, I have to confess, I dozed off a little in this episode. Now, not because I thought it was boring. I think I just had a late dinner and I ate a potato, and a potato probably just sucked all the energy right out of me. And I closed my eyes during a commercial break, and I think I lost about 10 minutes of this
Well,
episode.
you've got your show is not in the right target zone when potatoes can overpower your season finale. But I
It
think that's
happened.
where we are with Alien Earth.
It is. I dozed off. It's me in my old age. I dozed off last night during a movie as well. So I've got a history of it at this point. Of
It happens.
just
I have the post dinner slumbers,
yeah,
but tonight, if I'd had them, I would have had nightmares from all the scary stuff that happened in tonight's
scary
episode.
stuff. There is one surprise in this episode, and we'll get to it. Although I did not take copious notes tonight. In fact, I took no notes tonight.
All right.
Because I figured that it would be so riveting, it would just seal itself right into my synapses.
Or did the potatoes steal the notes away from you as well?
They did. The potatoes got me. I thought the rhythm was going to get me, according to according to the CNC Music Factory. Turns out the potatoes got me. I will say, right off the bat, it, just pacing wise and all that, not a bad episode. Certainly not the worst of the series.
No, certainly. Pacing
Uh,
wise, I agree with you. I think it had a good, and stuff happens, so that always is a plus.
it
Though
wasn't.
I
Yeah.
was disappointed because
Okay.
based on the title of tonight's episode, I thought it was going to be a crossover with Nickelodeon's Real
Real
Monsters.
monsters.
Yeah.
That would have been great. And I think that as long as we're crossing over, I don't know if Disney owns any chunk of Nickelodeon yet, but if it did, they they probably would have been watching Real Monsters.
I think we know what everyone's going to be watching in season 2 when they're on the TV. Yes.
Those have like a kind of a hideous European quality to them.
Yeah.
No, I like European stuff. Believe me, I do. But it's hard to quite get your like you look at it, but you never feel like you're completely seeing what is like. I have nothing really to hang on to, shape wise.
Yeah.
By the way, is it called ah Real Monsters or just Real Monsters?
No, I think technically the is part of it. But tonight's
So
episode is just the Real Monsters.
oh, but we should be going because it's a horror show.
So now I'm curious, Phil, who were the real monsters?
I the executives who greenlit the show. No, I don't want to.
Yes, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. Look, this show so far has been anything but subtle in its metaphors. Um, so clearly the real monsters are not the aliens, but and certainly not our xenomorph, who's now become a de facto tool for our heroes and is not that it was never scary, but now it's even less scary because now it's just somebody's pet that can
Well, I
attack.
was
It's an
thinking about
attack dog.
you're familiar with the concept of the girl boss and the hero's journey, where
The heroines. Oh, I see.
yeah, it's like
The heroes.
because for the girl boss, she just
Yeah.
she gets out there, she does the girl boss, and she's better than everybody.
Yeah.
She's better than you. She's definitely
Yes,
better than all the men.
for sure.
She's and then her journey is to sort of be discovered as great as she's always been, and the
Yeah.
real journey was everybody just needed to realize how awesome she was.
Yeah.
I,
That
I
has
think
been.
that's kind of the nutshell of how those concepts go. And it
And
didn't really
yeah.
even occur to me that's what we were watching until this episode, where it's like, oh yeah, I mean, she's just better than everybody. She's got all the powers. She can do all the things. She's got the
Yeah.
morality over everybody at the end. And
Mhm.
it's this whole new level of girl bossing because she has bossed the alien. The alien, Phil.
Yes.
My savvy viewers, she bossed the alien. This is supposed to be the scariest creature in sci-fi ever, in cinematic sci-fi ever, and it's just sort of a lapdog that
Well,
she could just kind of chirp at from like inside a bunker, and then out somewhere in the jungle it's like, ooh, and then it comes a running.
well, and inadvertently has once again, every time they come out with something new with one of these franchises, it kind of takes away from the old. So Wayland Yutani should be less interested in trying to find these aliens all over the galaxy than just developing their new line of synths, because apparently that's the real weapon.
Yeah.
So who cares? So once again, the alien is even less interesting. I thought about it for this whole episode, and
Okay.
I'll say this even before we get into plot, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead, what do you got?
I think this would have been a far better show if that had nothing to do with aliens. If it was just about, and I think I've said it a few times, but it further every episode, like, just reinforces my belief that I would have happily watched a show about um, the 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 existential
Sure.
concept of putting a soul into a synth body, and whether or not that's even really the same person, and what, if you give them too many abilities, can they handle, all that stuff,
It's such a key factor of what this whole concept is for this Alien Earth show, and it is so underdeveloped. It is
Yeah.
just it's such a side thought, as is the alien. To your point, the alien is just this afterthought. I mean, even when they use it, it's just like, oh yeah, oh, cut to, yeah, and it's killing people like it does.
Right.
All right, anyway, we're moving right along here, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Back to Peter Pan and all of its. By the way, our mother character, did she not look like a pirate in this, with her the way that
oh
her
yeah, yeah.
the way her head bent?
I was thinking gypsy, but just fortune teller. But
Yes,
yeah, you might
that
be
as
onto
well.
something specifically with the pirates.
That's all I thought of at first. Gypsy is interesting too, because I don't know, it might be a bit of a stretch, but maybe that could be another thing they were going for.
I'm not really
Um,
sure what her big sin was. I
I don't
mean,
know what she was their mom. She was always nice to. She had Nib's memory erased, but
yeah,
I mean, how many would she lose a week? I mean, I don't know. Is that worth
I don't
locking her
know.
in?
And then everyone runs in and then tells her everything that she forgot. Oh, you forgot that? Here, let me explain it to you in graphic detail. This is everything
Right.
that disturbed you before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know why she's in there. Yeah, actually, I don't even know. At some point, I kind of wonder. There's they're making it out like these kids have kind of come into their own, and now they
Now
have
they're gonna
some
rule,
agency,
Phil. They're
and
gonna rule.
oh god, yeah, they're gonna rule. What they keep forgetting the part where they're also 12, and even if they've got strong bodies and are capable of stuff, they're still 12-year-old idiots, and that's something we certainly lost with our lead. And it's part of what you're getting at, the whole girl boss concept. At what point did she break down like a 12-year-old girl would, with everythth that's
Yeah.
going on? I don't feel like I ever got the sense that she was even growing up. She was growing up from somebody who was having a real problem with this, to accepting what she was, or I don't even know what her arc is, except she's great. she's great. She's great, and now everybody knows she's great, and she's
Yeah,
the leader.
she's kind of confused as
A
she goes
little.
along, and then by the end she gets clarity. And so now she sees it. I thought it was so absurd when she's in the prison cell with everybody, and she's like, "Oh, we've been fearing them all this time. Maybe what we need to do is that we need to have them fear us." And I
Mhm.
thought, why do you think you're in the prison cell? They didn't
Right.
put you there because they're not afraid of you.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but
I, I
yeah, go
was
ahead.
also I was waiting for somebody to try to explain to them as children that they were in that cell to protect them from the aliens and that were on the loose, and that so like just go tell the kids that this is
Right.
like they have to be in it. This is a safe room. This is there's these things running around. We got to keep them.
Yeah, they have the the other characters, the other Lost Boys, the
Mhm.
other hybrids did act very childlike all the time. She
Yeah.
did not act childlike all the time.
No.
And they kept talking about that this concept would come up throughout the series of how the potential of their genius because of the processing powers of their brains and whatnot, but we never see that activate. We never see one of these kids, even like you could imagine it being, oh, they start off acting like a child as they're confronted with a situation, but then the higher neurons of the super brain kick in, and then they're blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 and they're explaining all this stuff,
Yeah.
and they're thinking like, oh wow, hey, I know oh, okay, yeah, 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 I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Something like that would have been interesting, but they
Sure.
just they just don't even they just don't address it beyond occasionally they put a sticky note on these ideas and they put it on the screen and go, oh yeah, by the way, remember this, and oh yeah, there's this sort of idea.
Yeah. And one has to wonder if that had been part of a larger arc, because clearly by the end of this episode, I think we both kind of saw this coming, that this wasn't going to exactly wrap up.
Right.
It was going to set up a second season, and I look, for anybody that's curious, I'm not that interested in seeing a second season of. I've had a great time talking about this one.
Yeah,
I
but I'll be
think.
doing the next season solo if I go that direction.
Well, one would hope that we could find a show that we could both really sink our teeth
Mm,
into. That something that would be something we actually would like. I mean, I there's plenty of good stuff out there. I know that everything is mid tends to lean into certain genres, and I'm happy with those genres. I, I'm hoping that there are some examples out there that may be new coming out soon. We'll check the schedule.
we'll see what's going on
We'll
now.
put our fingers to the pulse of a generation and see
Right.
what's coming.
And we'll talk about it. The We'll get into, as we do, the larger arcs and the larger character stuff that's kind of lost and squandered as far as whatever narrative arc they're trying to build for these people.
Yes.
But
Check my notes.
but as an example, just in the details of small stuff that's not on that level,
Hmm.
there were two things. Let's see if we can remember them both. The first one, it just has to do with just using your details to reinforce the world that you're creating and to
Okay.
reinforce the characters. If you're going to have a line of exposition or a line of dialogue or a line of, here's the letter I'm reading that she sent me when she was a kid and she was still a human being,
Hmm.
like a sick kid in this hospital program.
Yes.
uh,
Could
she
you
mentions in
drop
it,
something in there? Yeah.
yeah, is that like she talks about and one of the nurses, I like the nurses, one of them
And
says,
one's mean.
yeah, one's mean and says the S word a lot, you
Right.
know and I'm thinking, well, then why didn't we have, like, who is that character? It would have been really easy to have that character for all the past 7 episodes. There's this character and they're always saying shit. It's like, if
Oh,
you're
was
going
that the
to
S word?
say it later in
Wow.
a letter, why not just so we, the audience, go, oh yeah, she's talking about that character, and then we could maybe remember other interactions she's had with that character. We go, oh yeah, that's why she thinks that character's mean. Oh, this little girl wrote this letter before the big scene with that character happened that she doesn't realize is coming, but we've all seen it. It's just like that. That's all gold that you can mine in the details.
Sure.
And there's one more of that where I was just like, why didn't you? And if it strikes me, I'll bring it up again.
Yeah, please do, because this is very formative. I hadn't considered that when it was happening. I assume I was conscious. No, I
That might have
remember the
been during the
letter.
potato zone.
I remember the letter, and I also thought I didn't come up with that in that moment, but I did wonder why we didn't get more flashbacks of the brother-sister relationship when she was still human. Um,
Right,
just
all we
to
really see of that is the letter, but
Yeah,
presumably they had a strong enough relationship before that, before
yes,
she went into the hospital,
right,
or excuse me, that is informing all of this. It's carrying all of this.
yeah,
But we never really got like a definitive look. Here's the memory of the two of them in their happy childhood, or maybe in their crappy childhood, but they
mhm.
are there for each other and still finding strength and wonder in the world through each other.
Then that would be a great way to and how and a lot of the points that brother makes in this episode have to do with how complicated life is, and that's true. And if this were an actual 12-year-old mind, um, I think she'd be having trouble with that because she probably would want things to be simpler, the way that a younger person wants to have very defined things, and the ambiguity and people's motivations when it gets more, as you learn more about the world and things start to get a little more gray. But she knows everything. She she even had a line which was so it was one of those you could feel somebody typing it, and
Hmm.
I should have written it down, but it was something that was so like uh, a, a young person doesn't think like that, and even if she's having some understanding of the way things work.
Well, even
Oh,
even in
it
that
was.
conversation, oh, go ahead.
I almost remembered what it was.
Oh crap! And then I stepped on it, and you lost it.
No, it was something to do with complicated. It was like complicated is what people say when they don't want to say something else. Like it's what adults say. I might have I might be confusing it with what I thought would be a better line, which which is what that I think the I can only think of the line I came up with, which is something to the effect of complicated is what adults say when they can't tell you the truth or something like that, or they
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
lying. But what the way she said it just felt like, well, that's a writer writing that line, and it's because the writer wants to say that line, and they put it in the mouth of this character,
Well, and it
versus having it be organically coming from a character who's in that situation.
right. That and in that same conversation, this is later in the episode after they've reunited, and it's
Mhm,
the first time they've really talked
mhm.
since their breakup of
Yeah.
sorts at the end of last episode.
Yes.
But it was so stupid because he apologizes for shooting Nibs,
Right.
and I was glad that he actually got out and dialogue, but she was hurting my
She
friend.
was telling my friend like the yeah,
and
and
and then and then it was just sort of glossed over by her. And I
yeah,
suppose this is what happens in arguments anyway, where you're like, but that's not the point of my, but it just was so absurd that this was an obvious thing of she was hurting these people and
yes,
I had to stop her.
right.
You would think that this, even the child, but with this mega brain, would be able to do that math.
Yes, and not come out of it with whatever she said, which was just again, if you uh, I'm trying to imagine him saying this to his little sister
Hmm.
and how she would react, and that he would explain that to her, and maybe she doesn't quite get that, but this character, this current Wendy, um, is a she's a force to be reckoned with, and she's going to make her point, and her point is somehow going to be so much stronger than his, even
Hmm.
though I as a person watching am thinking, well, look, um, no, the brother needed to stop Nibs. She was going nuts, and she was pulling the jaws off of a person who
Right. Yeah,
was
this
just
wasn't like she was
uh,
giving him noogies. you know
no, no.
she was ripping the
She's
jaw
ripping
out of
his
his
jaw off,
head.
and he was clearly going to have to get a synth face after this was
Yeah.
done. uh, So her not getting that, and then what it ends up doing inadvertently is making me not that interested in the plight of our hero, as you could call her.
And hey, chat, by the way, thanks for joining us. Hop into the little chat box there and say hi. If you have something, a point you want to make or a point you want us to discuss, let us know.
Or tell us what you're drinking. I'm having cheap swill tonight in honor of the final episode of the first season of Alien Oath.
Alien Oath, and I'm having a LaCroix.
Yeah, it's way better for you, but actually, strangely, probably not any cheaper. So I think that a lot of tonight's episode ended up leaving me kind of cold because I guess I'm supposed to be rooting for our kids, but I don't. I'm not. It ends up just being, and maybe this is the point of the episode. Things are complicated. Maybe they're not the good guys. Maybe the humans aren't the good guys. Maybe nobody's the good guy. And maybe I, as with my own 12-year-old brain, just wants things to be less ambiguous, am having trouble thinking that this ended on any kind of a note that I'm supposed to be like, yeah,
Well,
they rule. I don't.
Yeah, it's a thing where once the kids started activating, I thought, oh, so maybe they're the real monsters, and for a good swath of it, I think that's actually, I think there's a good argument for that.
Yeah,
I don't think that's what they were saying in this story. Maybe everybody's a monster, really, at the end of the
except
day.
the alien, of course.
Yeah, except the alien. You know why, Phil? Because it's honest.
It's honest. I admire its purity.
Well, you're right. So right. So, but that's another thing where she says, she admires it because it's honest, and so you would think, okay, so this is a value of the show. If we're going to make a big deal out of the value of the alien being an honest thing, then we should have had specific things that were dishonest to her.
She was lied to. She was lied to, and it affected her on a very profound level. And her brother might have been one of the people that was, that was lying to her, and that's why there's a lot of strife there.
Now, saying that out loud, I'm thinking, I guess in one of the episodes, they did try to make some hay out of him saying he was going to visit her in the hospital, but he never came.
Yeah, so did they revisit that?
Could be one of the that could be one of the foundational poles holding that idea up. But you can't just sort of throw that out 3 episodes ago and then just sort of dust off the idea tangentially in the finale.
Yeah, I think a concept like that might have played more easily in a feature film, where the setup and payoff on that wouldn't be more than 60 minutes away from, but we get a week in between these episodes, and yeah, God, I've probably forgotten a ton about this show already.
Oh, yeah, it reminds me of this moment.
Where Bob Dylan finally got around to writing that lyric.
This was the moment where I felt that we were supposed to identify. I certainly identified with him, looking back on episode 1 and thinking about the promise that this series had. Then you go back to him and he's just kind of sadly watching it and going, yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
Well, I mean, are we watching? Again, another show. It would have been a profound concept that one of the 5 pillars of industry on planet Earth was about to crumble. A trillions and trillions of dollar company that has huge amounts of power, assumably. Assumingly. I like assumably more. I'm going to go with that.
We can run with
that. It's the Coors Light we're talking about. This company crumbling, I mean, you kind of have to imagine it in terms that we would currently understand. And there's a few companies out there that have a ton of pull. They're high profile. I don't know if it's supposed to connect maybe a Steve Jobs or an Elon Musk with this character. I would say that currently that you'd probably be making parallels with the Elon.
Well, I'm thinking more like a Zuckerberg.
Zucker is certainly a fair comparison, but either way, when there's a face of somebody who's, we've been given the face of a huge company, and I'm not feeling that a company is about to collapse underneath this guy, and he's dealing with that and on any level. Maybe that's what the next few episodes of season
you
2.
know, and we've hit on this repeatedly throughout this season.
Mhm.
There's no sense of reality to this concept that he's the head of a multi-trillion-dollar company that's one of
No.
5 multi-trillion-dollar companies. It's so absurd that he's supposed to be this genius,
Mhm.
and he just acts like an idiot all the time. And he's using profanity as a way to show that he's like edgy and he's thinking ahead. And it's just
Mhm.
like there's nothing there to this character.
No, I'm half waiting to find out that this whole thing's been a computer simulation that he's been playing as a game, like a
Yeah, I mean,
run the world game, and this is a matrixy sort of scenario where somebody flips the switch on and he's just some kid.
yeah.
Um, but because at no point in this show have we ever felt like he was running a company. It always just felt like he was on an island.
Or that he
You
was
know-
a genius. I mean, they did give him an extra layer in this episode specifically when you get a sense of his origin story. And that was the other example I was going to
all right.
give.
Yes.
That we've learned that his
Had an
father
abusive father.
was an abusive alcoholic.
Yes.
And I thought, well, okay, if this is this defining characteristic, and then as a result of that, we learn, well, he's really just like his dad. He just hates people too. He's
Yeah.
just, applied his genius towards hating the world.
Mhm.
That if this was such a scarring and foundational memory for him
Mhm.
and defining who he is as a character, why did we not see this is a perfect opportunity to
Yes.
show
Sprinkle
that
that
ahead of
in.
time before they give us the big reveal that
Right.
somebody's drinking and he sneers about it,
Right.
and somebody brings alcohol into at the negotiation and he's like we see him bristle or talk down or bad or like some kind of reaction. You could have done this a number
Yes.
of times, and then when you finally get to this, you go, oh, so that's what that's all about. And then it
Right.
would be a reveal,
A reveal, a big payoff to a
a
setup that
payoff.
had been and the way you've done it is better than what I would have done, which is have it be in the very beginning where you see him being beaten by his alcoholic. By the way, how often do you hear
Beating him with the
about
bottle. It's just
yes. Oh my God. Meet my friend Jack and Daniels.
yeah.
um,
But you can say, how often do we what?
how often do you hear about the nurturing alcoholic father? Those exist.
They're out there, I'm sure.
There are happy drunks that are going to tell you that you're doing really well with your homework and they like your art and they
Yeah.
want you to follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Why are they always
Why are they always the abusive one that's bit hard to relate to? I don't know.
cannot get past the tropes. So that's a good way of doing it. Why are we finding this out in season final of this
The season finally.
the season finally was this 8 episodes? This is 8 episodes.
8 episodes.
We find out in episode 8. Now, did you for a second think that maybe his synth friend Adam was the one he created when he was 6?
Yes.
Are we
I
supposed
believe that is the case.
it would seem that that's what they were implying. In which case it kind of reminds me of do you remember the show A Family Affair in the 1970s?
I thought you were going somewhere else. Yes, I do with Mr. French.
Mr. French, but in this case it was the little girl. It was Buffy and
Jody.
Jody and Buffy, and
Mhm.
Buffy they were twins. She has an old lady doll. She's got her doll that she carries around, Mrs. Beasley. Is an old lady doll. A 6-year-old is a 6-year-old going to create an old man doll to beat up his dad?
Well, see, what what made me think of was little Anakin Skywalker not building R2-D2, but instead building C-3PO, a protocol droid.
That's hilarious, but I like my example better. Either way. Perfectly valid. We've seen it twice now.
Decide. Yeah, you people watching the live out there, our savvy viewers, you can decide which is better.
It's just funny, and I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but at certain points during tonight's episode especially, I don't know why I didn't think of it much more during the rest of the series, but I kept thinking about actually a great movie called Ex Machina.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ex Machina has to do with a genius guy living kind of in not on an island per se, but it's essentially an island in that he's
Isolated.
isolated and he's got these synthetic uh, robot ladies walking around his and he's bringing on a guy to help. It's an excellent film. It's worth
Yeah.
watching if anybody hasn't seen it. But it did make me think of this character who's also supposed to be this genius, and and in a similar way, you have kind of a straight character coming to his compound to meet with the Zuckerberg slash Elon Musk slash
Hmm.
genius guy, and he's sort of a party guy. Like he's a cool guy, genius.
Right.
He's creating these things, which in some shows and some movies that kind of thing doesn't really play well. In Ex Machina it does. So it, part of me wishes that they could have taken some. They weren't. Again, I'm creating a new show, so it's not really
Right.
fair to this
But they,
show.
they could have like taken a page from that as far as how they handle the
Kind of
genius and how they
yes,
handle the synths.
yeah, a sort of chaotic genius. Now, because at this point, when I'm watching this kid, this boy cavalier,
Hmm.
this this cavalier young lad, uh, he doesn't strike me as the kind of kid who would have built a synth at 6. To
No, and I don't. And just the concept that he would build a synth. I mean, it's 6. Come on, people. You,
why
any of
6?
you, if you've got kids out there, 6.
They
No,
could have chosen any number.
I mean, 10, 11. No, but maybe, but
Maybe.
6. Oh, I
How
mean, you're
about
like,
you know what? How about 13 when he's just becoming like on the same age that the our characters are
right on
uh
that cusp
on that
between
cusp.
childhood and adulthood, and that's when his genius it really takes off.
Well, that it would parallel our. I'm just this is me
I'm
coming
liking
up
it.
with this now. It
Hmm.
would parallel the plight of our lead, who is also that age, who is coming into her own and gaining some purchase, some agency in
I
her
like it.
plight.
This is good.
So
This is good.
but again, that's they didn't do that, and I wish.
No, what
But
they
it
did
might
was
have
bad.
been
It was bad.
nice if, and it really all they would have had to do is change the number 6 to the number 12 or 13
Sure.
or
I
whatever,
mean, it's just a
because
line of dialogue. It has no real impact
we
except that
didn't.
the line they chose
Yes.
hurts everything, and the line that we're suggesting could have helped everything.
Well, I again, I'm longing for a show that they didn't give us, which is um, the show that had no alien in it,
Yeah.
or
Basically
either.
a Blade Runner show, right? I mean, we've said this before, but
Yeah, I think they might have been better off doing, rather than an alien Earth, a some version of an early, and they could have made it a period like a retro, like a past future, like if they want to make 2019 when synths are kind of becoming what they are in that
right.
franchise. We go back a few years to see how it got there, and maybe you have the Terrell Corporation versus the whatever corporation on who's going to get synth technology right, and then it creates a rebellion, and that's why they can't be on Earth or whatever.
Sure.
That might have been, but
Well,
that's not the show they made. So what are you going to do?
no, no. In fact, because basically now that it ends with the hybrids heading out to rule, I mean, now's the time you'd want to start employing Blade Runners to go out and take them out. But
And I
I don't
might
want
be
to
on
go.
their side after this episode. I might think, I'd rather watch the. But
Yeah.
yeah, where do you go from here? Rule what exactly? They're
Well,
on an island,
yeah,
and are they going to take over the company and start doing? Oh, I own the stocks of this, and now I'm going to be making
they're going to go
decisions.
back into town and they're going to rule that building that the ship crashed into.
Yeah, I mean, one could argue that as 12-year-olds, what they think of as ruling is going to turn out to be not what they thought ruling was going to be. But so far, aside from adults kind of doing them wrong, I guess that maybe that's one of the points, is that a few of these characters have had other characters treat them very, very badly. So
Mhm.
whether it's uh wh- what's it, not Yaphet Koto
Yeah.
threatening the parents, and so there's like a dynamic
Sure.
happening
Yeah.
there that's
So
really
you
solid.
have all of them. The Madam. Oh, it's even Madam, isn't it? Madam Sylvia. See, now I'm starting to think the
Dame
whole
Sylvia.
fortune teller. Oh no, yeah, right, Dame. Okay, I'm wrong. Back to the pirate. Dame Sylvia. That she lied about erasing Nibs's memory, so it was a
Right,
lie
so
to her as far as who she was and what she did.
yeah,
But
it's not like they all have a story there. The other the guy Smee, he was kind of along for the ride with I gotta find my cheat sheet with these names, by the way. Am I
no,
losing you?
no. Well, I don't know. The audience is sort of. I think they're hitting the potato zone. But while you're looking that up, I was going to say back on the thread of specifically Boy Cavalier and
Yeah,
what a disappointment he is. That truly, by the end of the season, he never did anything that expressed any kind of particular genius, aside from the fact that he apparently is instrumental in the creation of these synths, but we have no idea how. It's not like he figured out at least Tony Stark had the arc reactor, right?
yeah,
That come up with. Oh, so we go, that's the thing, and he helped doing that. We saw him working on it and everything.
right.
There's sort of this abstract connection, but it's not even just that they didn't give him a moment of genius. They doubled down on just making him stupid. Like he goes into, he's got all of the synths rounded up in there in the jail cell. They
Right.
open the door and he goes in to talk, and he's talking to them about how no, he owns them and they don't have any agency and they're just the floor models for this product that he's selling. And I'm thinking, how
What,
stupid do you have to be? Like, what part of the conversation you're having, what part of the pitch is supposed to appeal to these people?
yeah,
There's
what's
there's
his
no
goal in
part
that
of this
moment?
pitch. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, if he had a goal in that, if he walked in with a goal, he's like, maybe he's thinking that he goes in and he goes in a little bit heavy, and he talks to them like children, and he says, "Listen, I'm the adult here. You guys are the kids. We made you. You got to do the way that you might talk to your own kids."
Right. Like I'm the
But
boss. It's just the way it is.
it's just the way
Or
it
he
is, and
could have come
it's
in,
for your own good or
yeah.
whatever.
He
But
could have come
no,
in hard as
a- as a parent,
intentionally saying things, making their argument for them of why they should hate him. And so they're like, yeah, we do. And then he guides that around to, and that's why you want to
yeah,
do this. That's
right,
why, I know you feel like you should do this, but let's think for a moment.
right, right.
And then
No,
his genius is employed. Instead, we just have him acting like an idiot.
no, like that's one of the issues with writing a genius character, because
Mhm.
you know that your genius character is never going to be any smarter than you are. Because,
But I think
uh,
it's true. But I think
unless you can glass over it and have them do things you can't do, and somehow it's like, well, yeah, he can do, but if you're going to have him go in and make an argument, you as the writer have to make that argument.
yeah,
You're going to have to come up with it. It has to be pretty compelling, and for both the audience and the characters that he's making that
I think
to whom he's making that argument.
what we end up getting are writers who think that a genius is an idiot, and so they write him like an idiot. But maybe it comes down to it's a character they don't like, and they
Yes,
have contempt for him because he
sure.
is, the big the big greedy capitalist.
Right, he's a big CEO.
Yeah, he's the big CEO, and he's supposed to, and he thinks he's so smart, right? I think that's the problem. I think the writers are writing him as, and he thinks he's so smart. It's like, no.
Right.
Like if he's a genius, you have to believe that he's smart, and you have to write him that way. And you could peel away the layers to reveal how awful he is. But
Yes.
if he's going to be the genius who runs an empire, you
Mhm.
got to be able to write a genius who runs an empire, and they just don't do it. They just
Are are they attempting to create a character? Because you might argue that Steve Jobs was almost a figurehead who motivated the geniuses around him.
Right.
That he's not that bright, and I'm not saying that Steve Jobs wasn't bright, but he wasn't.
No, right.
But you know what I'm
He wasn't
saying?
Steve Wozniak.
No, he didn't probably write the codes for any of this stuff. He probably just was a very charismatic, motivational whipcracker who somehow got people he would come up with an idea like, I want this thing, but it needs to be this big. And then the geniuses would go to work.
Yeah, and Andy knew a way to inspire them, which apparently usually involved him being a real jerk. But
Yeah.
but the point is, he was getting stuff done. So to your point of what you're saying.
And but that's how a lot of heads of companies kind of are, I think. But
Mhm.
I don't feel like they haven't gone that complex with this character. They're still playing him unless they were trying and just maybe didn't quite in execution and got somewhat lost.
Yeah.
But again, look, we have a lot of characters in play, and they get moved along the timeline a little bit at a time, and I think he just becomes one of many characters that are ultimately underdeveloped.
To that point, another underdeveloped character is it Curly? Was
Yeah.
she the
The one that didn't snitch.
The one who didn't snitch?
The-
And I thought, okay, well, she thinks she's the favorite.
Yeah.
So when he comes into the room, wouldn't she go over and say, hey, I'm not supposed to be in with these other people. Come on, well, let's see it. Like, I figured there would be more interesting, but no, it's just like, hey, remember this character? She thinks she's the favorite. So she sits there and she says, I was supposed to be your favorite. I'm your favorite. I shouldn't be here. I'm your favorite.
No, you're not.
No, you're
The
not.
end. The end.
The end. Like, that's it. And you're like, so that whole, oh my gosh. Okay, so that whole potential arc that they had of
it's gone.
We've got our group of hybrids, and Wendy is the favorite, and then here you have the rival. I mean, you could have developed that out. It could have led to a moment of drama where everyone's in trouble and she's throwing Wendy under the bus, or it gets to the point where she has the perfect opportunity to kill Wendy, move her out of the way, and become the number one. And what does she do? The choice that she makes defines her character.
And, and then at that point, she's a more interesting character than Wendy because she's given a more interesting choice.
It's just her saying, I'm your favorite. And then a whole episode goes by. She's never around. And then she shows up at the end saying, I'm supposed to be the favorite.
It's got to be frustrating for the actress as well, who's doing a fine job. And again, it goes without saying, I feel like I want so much to compliment so many things in the show, but other things that are not so.
The acting is good.
Acting is fine, and for the most part, the casting's quite good. And I still find appeal in a lot of these characters, even though they're frustrating because of the situation.
I think that's what the actors are bringing to the roles, right?
And, yes, I have to assume that because otherwise I wouldn't care. Look, it's not my show. I'm not going to watch the second season, so it's not even like it's pointless to even go on. But any one of these actresses and actors, and well, some of them we already know, Oliphant, for instance, and Babadook Mom. I would watch them in other shows.
Sure,
I'd happily watch any of these people. It reminds me of when really, really good British actors get cast in really, really mediocre American films.
Oh, the breath of that thing.
They never know what to do. Yeah, that's a great example.
You'd be like for like Michael Caine in Jaws 4: The Revenge, perhaps.
I deliver laundry. By the way, there's somebody doing. I saw a video the other day of somebody starting with Michael Caine and turning it into Matthew McConaughey because he says that. Have you seen this?
Yeah. I may have sent it to you.
Well, whoever sent it to me, I'll have to remind me to thank him.
I mean, we both saw it though. Yes,
it's hilarious because Michael Caine is a lot of people do Michael Caine now, and a lot of people do Matthew McConaughey. It's the current version of how everybody used to do Jack Nicholson and Christopher Walken.
Right.
But the point being, these actors have probably all been really, really. They've all been in very well written and well, probably better than this show. They've probably all been in better things, and I hope that they're all in better things later.
Yeah,
And I hope they're having a great time now. I hope it's a fun show to work on for them.
sure.
But it's always a little bit painful to see way better than average performers in below average projects.
I agreed. Hey, chat, do you agree? Are you out there?
I
I
think
see we
that
got a few folks in here. Just jump in.
can I want to give you another example though.
Yeah, what do you got?
One of my favorite actors is David Thewlis. David Thewlis is a tour de force Brit actor who years ago, the first thing I saw him in was Mike Lee's Naked, and uh, that character that he plays in that and other Mike Lee movies is so dimensional, repulsive, engaging, charming. He's everything in a film like that because it's completely character based. It's not plot based at all.
Okay.
So everybody then recognized David Thewlis as a great actor. What do they do with him? They do the same thing they do with every really good British actor. They make him a villain in a crappy American fantasy film. So he ends up being the bad guy in that Dragon movie that came out in the mid-90s when they were still trying to figure out CGI.
Oh, yeah. Is the one with Sean Connery?
Yeah, Sean Connery.
I think he also makes your argument too. I mean, he's not a villain in that one, but it's like, hey, here's this great actor from across the pond.
Yes, and then so like all of a sudden nobody thinks much of David Thewlis because he just played a mediocre villain. Now, on the other hand, here's another version of it that actually worked out. Hans Gruber. You remember a character named Hans Gruber?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a wonderful British actor who played a villain and played him well, and actually propelled him into more. He's also the sheriff of Nottingham in that not so great version of. He was great in it.
Hans Gruber is the sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, I mean he's sort of playing it.
No.
Once you've done that character.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually just watched a clip of that movie today.
And you for Halloween you were. You
yeah,
were.
The with the
Snape.
Robin Hood.
You
with
were Snape.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, but you went to. I remember one year you guys did a Halloween thing and you were Snape.
Oh, that's true. Yes,
Yes.
that's good for Halloween. I was Snape, so I do feel the kinship.
Yeah, no, he died way too soon. He was far too young.
Cattle Dog. Yes, let's see. An awful and to a very mid AF show. I don't think you're going to get any disagreement here. I was thinking ahead of time when I was writing up the little blurb. I was thinking, and it's sure to be a terrible end to what has been a terrible season of Alien Earth.
We've seen worse shows. I will say,
I kind of wish we were reviewing one that was worse because as bad as this is, but it is like goofy, awful bad in a lot of ways, and it's just terrible.
Right?
It's still not like an Ironheart or an Acolyte or
no. I didn't see that one, or either one of those. It's not bad enough to be good, certainly. Look, everything is mid. You chose it well. You chose the show well. It'd be nice to get to either next round if we do this again, and I'm quite game because I enjoy it very much.
We'll figure something out.
It'd be nice to either go above mid or below mid.
But right now we're in the mid grade.
We're right in the middle of mid, and because it's got great production value, right?
The production value is really nice.
Yes, it looks really nice. Yeah. So we didn't really go through the plot much on this.
No,
because who cares?
Because who cares really? And the other, along with that, because it's the last episode of the season, but they presumably want to keep the door open. lots of things start happening. We're having
Yeah.
clashes and collisions of characters and their
Things
plot
promised as far as like a fight between Kirsch and not Yaphet Kotto was
yes.
hinted at, and they built the tension, and so we do get some kind of a payoff with that as far as action goes.
And that was okay as far as action goes. But here's the thing.
It's
going, and I'm thinking, all right, this is the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're going at it now.
Yeah.
Somebody could die.
Somebody could die.
And initially it looks like they're going to kill Timothy Oliphant. Well, no, actually, initially it looks like, it looks like they're going to kill him. And I'm like, wow, okay, they're going to write him out. Yeah, he probably had his contract. He's in it for just for one season.
Right.
He can have a dramatic exit. It'd be a waste of him and his character, because
for sure.
What did that all add up to? Nothing.
Don't know.
And then it looks like, oh wait, but it's not him. He ends up grabbing the other guy. Not
didn't kill him.
And then it's like, oh, now he's squeezing him, and that guy's eyes are bugging out. I'm like, well, sure, because Kirsch is an android. He's a synthetic. He's got all kinds of things. He can probably pop that guy's head right off, even though he's a cyborg.
Right.
I don't know if he's got the adamantium, skull holding, back holding his head on there.
Yeah.
So then I thought, oh, okay, I guess they could kill him. And they don't kill either of them. And I knew when they didn't kill Kirsch, the guy standing over him, he's got the guns on him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's got him dead to rights. And then he's distracted by an alien. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're not killing anybody.
They're not killing anybody.
And then it's like, oh, okay, right. Because they want to keep the door open. But
they're going to kill off secondary characters. They did kill off one character who was, I believe her name was Siberian. Yes. With that thing that we saw in our first couple episodes, finally came down to grab somebody and do something, and nobody seemed to be able to do anything about it.
No, and then we lost a lot of the armed guards.
Yes, we did.
People that we don't even know or care.
No, we did. We when they go into an elevator and the door closes and you look around and you realize you don't know who 3 out of 4 people are. It's like, well, I guess those people are going to die, because we haven't had any conversation with these people at all. I'm surprised they're even showing faces. And again, this has to be the first time in a long time that people have gone in guns a-blazing without helmets. And I know it's hard to tell what character is what, but I'm pretty sure if you're in an army in the future and you've got
you're going to want to know like who your ranking officers are.
They need headgear. Like, where did they all lose their helmets in that sort of fight that happened on the
they lost their helmets when they lost their minds. You've got the one shot when they come around the corner, or I can't remember. Yeah, they're like in the hallway and a body gets dragged down. And then they run over, and they come around the corner, and there's like 6 or 7 of these guys.
Yeah.
They got their guns trained. There's the alien in the middle of the hallway over the body.
Yeah.
And then we cut away from the action. We just hear gunfire and people screaming. And I'm like, really? You had 7 guns trained on this thing. All you guys have to do is unload. Let's say 2 of the guns don't fire. Oh, it's jammed. You still get to throw it at him, right? And then 5 other people are shooting at it. It's just, well, you know why? You know why that happened? You know why the alien killed him? Because the alien. That's why. Because the alien can just kill 7 people because the alien.
It's dumb. In the original movie, which I will continue to say is the greatest. It's a near perfect film.
It truly.
I'm going to watch it again here in a minute.
Good plan.
Part of what the tension was in that was that it bled acid, and bleeding acid in a spaceship is detrimental, because it could actually be. It could be the death of you. That adds a level of difficulty for our leads, who cannot just shoot it and kill it. But here we are on an island in wherever, and there's no reason that shooting it's going to be a problem, because even if it does bleed acid, it's just going to bleed through.
Yeah, to my knowledge, that when they stumbled on that alien in the hallway, it wasn't right next to the big power banks a la Aliens, where the thermonuclear
This is a big problem because if any of this stuff ruptures, the whole place could go up.
Yeah, we
No,
know I mean that.
no, no, because the alien is in a show called Alien Earth. And half of that doesn't matter, and neither does the other half
Actually,
really.
both halves don't really matter. I
No,
mean,
this is Alien Island, and really, again, might just call it Island of the Synths. Island of the Synths.
it's an island a la any episode of Star Trek where they go to a planet and then they go down to the island on the planet.
Right.
It's
Right. It's always a look. This franchise has a lot of challenges because there's so many things that have been done now. Where do you go with it? They've teased going to Earth for a long time, even back to Alien 3 at one point. It was going to be
right.
Alien on Earth. Then they came around with Predator versus Alien, which takes place on Earth, and
well, at least they pick up people from Earth and then they go to the planet where no, it is on Earth. It's just up in the North Pole. I do want to say Cattle Dog. Good point. Literally all the alien action in this episode was off screen. Which is the way you save money.
It does seem like a budgetary issue, although then, if they didn't have to worry about 10 or 15 army guys and gals,
right,
and if the alien had attacked characters that we were actually worried about, then
you might have a little more coin,
galactic
coin.
You could save that.
Go ahead.
You could save the money for where it counts, but again, since the alien is a complete afterthought, the only interesting alien thing that happened, again, and obviously we're spoiling everything along this, so you don't know.
Sure.
The only interesting, surprising thing, sorry, yeah, Paul, if you're there, is when our eyeball thing I traipsed across I don't know how many miles to get to the nearest dead body.
That's the other thing. It's like they're not going to kill Kirsch. They're not going to kill what's the other guy's name? I like that guy, the actor, the not Yaphet Kotto.
Oh, hang on, I wrote it down here.
You hit that character,
Wendy. No, sorry. No, you're talking about Morrow.
Morrow.
Okay. Yes, Morrow.
They don't kill Kirsch. They don't kill Morrow, but they're gonna kill the eyeball, right? No.
You thought the eyeball. You were almost right. You predicted what was going to happen in this episode, and you predicted. Yep. We can go back and watch right now if you want. We can comment on our commentary.
I recommend everybody who's watching this episode, you should pause right now, go back, watch the entire previous episode of our live, and then come back and finish.
And then come back and join us. Yeah, just make a note of the time code here.
Just run them in the background when you're just doing stuff. You don't even have to be in the room. The important thing is that I get the hours on my views.
For sure. And you can just set the Bluetooth speakers down, just let it run in another room, and we're all good. You predicted that Joe, the brother, was going to get the eyeball, and that's what they were setting up. Now, that
was a pretty good scene, right?
It was a good scene, although you'd think that they would have slightly hidden that big thing, the crate, the crate thing. You'd think they would move it behind the wet bar in its room. So when he first walks in, he doesn't immediately see the open crate of what he knows is,
bad news.
Containment capsule for some kind of god-awful thing.
But one of two things, or both, have to go through his mind when he walks in the room and sees that container, and he would have seen it before he walked in the room. It was so
the door's open right there. Yes.
One is he would think, what was in that is now out? Like he would know that hey, that was holding. This is not
mental
good.
checklist.
Right.
This it's good.
Right.
Is it the thing that killed that other
fly? Was it the whatever? And the second thing he would have to be thinking is, oh crap, are they going to put me in that thing?
Right. Am I supposed to go in here? Is someone going to knock me out and I'm going to wake up inside it? Because it certainly can hold a humanoid.
But boy, what about the dumb design on that thing?
Oh, where it turns out that he rather smartly, at least as far as the character goes, got in the crate himself to to separate himself from the eyeball that apparently can jump through the feeding thing that it never could have jumped through before.
If
In
it can
all
get in that way, it could get out that way.
in all the days that it spent in that crate, well, you know what? The sheep never turned around. I guess the sheep never saw.
Yeah. So he did not have the visual trajectory on that.
The sheep should have been the eyeball should have been in another orifice of the sheep to be able to see that you could easily get out of through the,
Be the
through
brown
feeding
eye of the
trough.
sheep.
That's season 2.
That's season number 2. Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Every cylinder firing.
I was going to also say with all the action being off screen for Cattle Dog's comment, it takes us back to I don't know, episode 1, was it? Maybe 2?
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening off screen.
When she kills the initial alien with her paper cutter. Hey, whatever happened to that weapon? I can't remember. But when she kills it happens in the garage, like the door closes and we hear the scuffle and then it opens and she has decapitated the alien. And we're like, well, glad we didn't have to film that.
There was a and I think this has been bringing me to this point in 8 episodes. I've really just wanted to bring up a movie called Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald.
Oh, can you imagine? I've never seen that movie.
Oh my God, is it funny?
Me, a big Norm Macdonald fan.
It gets funnier every time, by the way. So we should just do a commentary. It's just going to be me giggling like a fiend to the whole thing.
What about the movie? That's
there is a scene at one point where they are planning something where there's going to be a mob situation at a house. I don't think they know what's going to happen, but their joke was to like do something with fish in the aquarium at this house that they're, it's part of the dirty work that they've been hired to do.
They do revenge schemes or whatever.
They do revenge schemes. And at some point, it's Norm Macdonald and his partner who are hiding like in another room, and they hear what's going on in the room. It's like 2 groups come in. It's like, hey, wait a second, my fish is dead or whatever. You're trying to tell me that I sleep with the fishes? No, that's not what I mean. And then this is all from a shot of them just listening,
like right in the closet,
and you just hear this mayhem happen, but much like a radio play of the 1940s, people are announcing what's going on. Right. I'll get you with my chainsaw. Oh no, you've got my chainsaw, and now you're gonna get me with the chainsaw. No. In the sound effect.
Oh no, not my leg, just below the knee. Oh, the pain and agonies. You're cutting my leg just below the knee.
And it goes on and on for it. There's like 2 minutes of them doing this, like holding on to these dead fish that they were, thought they were doing a prank on the aquarium or something.
Right.
And it's sometimes cheap stuff works better in comedy because it's just funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
When a door closes and you hear a cartoonish fight cloud happening in the other on the other side of the barrier, and then the door opens and it's done, you think, well, they saved $150,000 on effects work on that particular.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. So I don't know. So what else? Is there anything else we need to touch on as far as just the stuff in this episode? I mean, I think we kind of got it all. I mean,
I don't like any of our leads anymore. That's what kind of where I'm left.
Yes.
I don't know where my sympathies lie because they've set it up as if we're supposed to find this triumphant moment for Nibs, Toodles. I'm sorry, Toodles died. Curly slightly.
Yeah.
And Curly slightly and Smee. I guess we're supposed to, on some level, feel like they've had some triumph here. But I don't know if is the show telling me that that's how I'm supposed to feel, because I don't feel it. It just feels like one group of characters that I don't really have much sympathy with anymore has momentarily dominated
another that I don't have any sympathy for.
Right.
Yeah.
And if anything, I probably have some sympathy for. Well, Arthur died. He was the most sympathetic of the people on one side of this equation.
But in a way, he's come back now.
He's come back, and again, if this show could have just jettisoned the whole alien thing, and it'd be far more compelling that some kind of a theoretically intelligent entity has now jumped into the corpse of a dead man and reanimated it. Um, that's scarier in some ways than the xenomorph ever is in this
Yeah. Oh,
show.
you know what else we got? We finally got the reveal on what that big
The
pod
big eggplant
alien.
thing. Yeah.
And we got it in the reveal with they did the same thing that you
Mhm.
called out in the first episode. It's the goo is dropping on me, dripping
Yeah.
down, and I go,
What?
oh, and then I look up. I mean,
Um,
I think when something hit you wet, it lands on your head. I think you do that
that's
fast.
it.
I mean,
It's like,
you're
oh yeah. Look, I do it every time I walk my kids down to the park and we go through this one yard that has sprinklers going. It's like, oh God, no, just give me. I don't have a sprinkler hit me and get cold water.
where's this coming from? I
Uh,
the other thing about the pod is that I thought was a missed opportunity or
mhm.
something. I guess I don't know. It eats her, and then you see her legs sort of hanging out of it. And my first thought was, oh, that's why the pod was hanging in the hallway when they found it, and it was full because it was eating a person.
Sure.
And then so this would be a payoff of sorts to go, oh, that's what that was all about. Except the final image of it was her legs, bloody legs hanging out, her hands hanging out of it, where it's sort of
Yeah.
like chomped on her.
Yeah.
And it's not actually like I wanted to see it like pull all that stuff
Pull all
up
the way up
and then get
and then
back into the pod that we recognize. And then you go, oh, so there was somebody in there all that time.
it should have been shriveled like either a testicle or raisin, and then when it finally grabs, it gets filled up again, bringing
Yeah.
it back to its much like when snakes eat something and they get that big lump.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Didn't
it's
get
a stupid tiny detail, but
no, actually I think it's rather exemplary of how this show either misses opportunities or doesn't follow through on a concept that it because when was the last time we even saw that eggplant? Um,
ugh, yeah, I mean,
episode 3 or
probably
2?
yeah, and
It's
it's
been
just
just one of many, that weren't even that nobody commented on it. They 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 dropped that one, came up with the fly thing long enough to kill off, excuse me, hang on, Toodles. They kill off Toodles, and, what a loss, Brian, Toodles. I felt like I knew him so well as a
yeah, I felt
character.
like, he was really coming into his own. I felt like there was some real development. I've been rooting for him, and he was
Oh,
making progress, and it looked like it was a big time for Toodles.
my money was on Toodles, and I lost a lot, alright? I don't wanna get into numbers, but,
Sure, but it's kinda heartbreaking and
more than
breaking the
1
wallet.
comma, more than 1 comma in most numbers that
Oh,
I bet a
Toodles.
lot on Toodles and the Vegas
But
odds.
and bringing that up, I was thinking about that when we were seeing the pod walk around and move.
Mhm.
Uh, it reminded me of the Fly and the Fly episode, and how pointless that was. How
Sure.
pointless that they'd been sitting on the Fly for a number of episodes. They made
Yes.
reference to it, I think.
Yes.
Um,
Did they? I don't know.
I,
I don't remember.
I don't know if they did or if I read a post somewhere where somebody made reference to it.
Yeah.
But it's completely meaningless when it's just like, oh, and in this episode we'll reveal the one of them other aliens we got.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to the next stuff.
No, so much of this show seems like it was built on the idea of all of these alien things that Boyd Cavalier got a hold of, and they were gonna do some sciencing on. And
Right.
it never really went anywhere. What did they learn? That one of them ate a rat when it got hungry enough. Um,
Yeah, this
and there's a second xenomorph running around too, and I actually don't even remember at this point where it came from.
they did catch that. That's the one that came out of Arthur.
No, isn't the big one the one that came out of Arthur?
No,
Oh,
they already
what
had the big one, and so
they
the
had
second
the
one.
Well, where'd the big one come from? Because what's her face cut the head off of a big one in episode 2 or 3, 2 probably.
I was gonna say,
And so
I
one
was confusing with Romulus, and I was gonna start talking about the completely pointless character who only existed to get an egg in him.
right. So the little one came out. Okay, that makes sense. The little one came out of
Arthur.
Arthur, and the big one came from somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
came from the ship.
so there was already one on the okay, whatever. You know what? I
Well, I
don't
don't know.
care.
I'm saying that with authority only in that, well, it had to have come there at least tangentially. Does anybody remember? I see there's two people here at the moment. Did you guys remember where the xenomorph that's been running around came from? It would be the one that was in the lab in the tube that broke out when she went over to talk to it. So where did that come from?
Yeah, yeah. These are questions that that I'm going to think about for another 4 minutes, and then forget that I ever asked.
Yeah,
Either way, so there's a
another
little
trial
one that's
for Alien Earth.
it's and I'm sorry that I don't remember it, because I'm sure if there was somebody here from the show, they could tell me exactly what
Yeah.
happened and why and how. And, and there might be levels of this that I'll never get, because nobody's here to explain, like, well, this works like this and this and this, and that's why
Yeah.
this happened, and whatever. It ultimately, I'm never going to watch the show again, and it doesn't fall the next time I watch Alien. I won't think anything about Alien Earth, because I'll be so engrossed by the majesty of a near perfect film that I love so much, that I won't think that, oh yeah, but in this world 4 years ago, a couple of these little things were running around on that island with that guy and that kid and the other synths and whatever.
God, just that one shot of the alien, when is it Veronica Cartwright? Is that the actress?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
wonderful
know what her
actress.
character name is?
Lambert.
Lambert, yeah.
Yeah,
When it's going to Lambert and it's like a sort of a wide shot, and it's just kind of like
it looks so weird, and it's moving
yeah,
so in such an alien sort of way. And they tried a lot. If you ever look at the behind the scenes on that, they tried a lot of things with that alien that didn't go into the final, for good reason. It didn't really ever, like, there were shots where they had the actor
yeah, like doing
in
the
the suit,
crab walk.
do the crab walk, and you're like, well, you know what? They gave it a shot, and it didn't really play out. It didn't come off the way that they probably needed for it to come off in the at the pace and the whatever. But they did at least attempt to have an alien move in ways that were that weren't just a guy in a suit, which is essentially all it is, or in this case, like a very very quick, like a ferret. It's like a running around like a little ferret running around like a little weaselly thing. Just so quick and so I we have chipmunks in our neighborhood, and I see them running around every now and again. They're kind of pests around here. They're very cute, but they're pests.
Mhm.
And I see them running around, and I keep thinking that's kind of what they're going for with this,
With that
the,
alien thing.
the scurrying little. It looks. They run through the underbrush like the chest burster running across that
Yeah.
table in the first film. But there was reason why in Alien 3 it moved the way it did, because it came out of a dog. All right.
Right.
So when it comes out of a human, it's sort of human-esque, but it moves again in a weird way. Not this one. It's just a fast CGI thing that it doesn't follow the rules of physics. It has no weight, like a lot of CGI that doesn't
Yeah.
have any weight.
And now I will say, seeing it sort of scamper through the wilderness, there was like one
Yep.
shot. It was like going over a bridge or a log or something,
Uh-huh.
and I thought that's kind of neat. Like,
Yeah,
just
no, there were
so
shots.
the idea that, we've only really ever seen aliens in industrial,
Yes. Yes.
post-apocalyptic industrial kind of, inside the spaceship, inside the prison, inside the the place where the people live.
Brian, I need to take a break.
All right.
Or we can end early, but I just drank 2 giant beers, and oh my god. Oh my god.
All right.
I'm gonna have something bursting out of another. It's not a chest burster per se.
All right. Well, you go take care of business. If you
All
do you
right.
want to come back after that, or we
I will come back.
all right.
This will take me two shakes.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying though is that I did think it was kind of neat the way we got to see it in. Again, this is all to the side of the fact that this series completely fails in the realm of storytelling. So right now, I'm just talking about things that were nice about it, that are sort of tangential to the storytelling stuff. That, you know, when we were discussing earlier, the acting's good. The production design is good. Seeing the alien run around in the wild, but particularly that one shot. The other stuff, when it's just sort of poking around the bushes, that didn't really send me. There was just a moment that said, yeah, you know, I suppose these aliens are from a planet, and that maybe, you know, there could be foliage on the planet, and so you're kind of seeing this wild alien animal out in the wild. That's part of the promise of what we would have thought we'd be seeing in Alien Earth. Seeing one out in nature, I suppose seeing one in the city, we didn't really get that. I mean, we sort of did in the first episode when it's wandering around the building, but that's all debris and, you know, again, back to that sort of post-apocalyptic industrial sort of environment for the alien to be skulking about in. So yeah, that was kind of nice. I did like, we were talking about it earlier, I thought the scene with the eyeball, once he gets into the room, you know, again, it's isolated, sort of a moment the director got to play out the tension of this creepy thing, and is it going to kill this guy? I thought that was all pretty effective. I thought it was funny when it crawled back into the crate from the backside, but then as we were saying, then it just doesn't make sense. Well, wait, so the feeding thing, anytime it's sort of tipped in there, it would be able to just, you know, run in or out of the food. So that didn't really make sense to me.
What did you say about me while I was gone?
I was just saying that you didn't really make sense to me.
I
But
don't. I'll agree with that. I don't make sense to myself.
I was just sort of touching on things that I thought were actually nice and effective, playing off of the scampering alien in the
Please
wild.
repeat it all for me. I was.
Yes, and then the eyeball scene, I thought that was fine.
Unexpected. It surprised me. I didn't. No, the show opened with that Arthur's dead body on the beach.
Now,
And
and
it
were you
kind of
surprised? I'm sorry.
yes,
Go ahead and finish that thought. No.
surprised.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you surprised that Adam was a synth?
By the time he told a story about creating one when he was at the ripe old age of 6, I kind of started to think, well, maybe that's the Adam character, because that would sort of make sense, because
Well,
he's,
and particularly, you know, again with the show that's right on the nose,
you know,
his first synth was Adam.
yeah. Although I think they spell it to take
They
the
spelled
edge off
Atom.
slightly. Atom,
Yeah.
yes. But yeah, that's
Well,
just
that's, you know, actually, I do give points for altering the spelling. So,
sure.
you know, but yeah, I did not realize, I didn't see that coming until he told the story, and then I thought, oh, okay, well, that's fun. But even in that, he explains, well, you know, nobody was going to let a 6-year-old, what, I guess, you know, go live life on his own and start a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Right.
So he had to come, you know, create a figurehead. So okay, but if that's the case, then so Adam runs the company? I mean, like, maybe he did for a while, and then he, you know, gave it over to Boyd. I mean, he's sort of the Remington Steele of the operation there. Is that what he's saying?
Possibly, yeah, I like the reference. The by the way, the movie that I fell asleep last night had Pierce Brosnan in it, so no
No, yeah.
slight on him. But are we supposed to think now at some point? Again, a more clever show might give us the unreliable narrator take on this, which is that's not how any of this happened. And a more clever show, if I thought it was smarter than it is, I might consider that Boy Cavalier is continuously creating his own past, and he's lying about everything, and that's part of what has gotten him where he is because he keeps just lying his way through everything. And that being lied to is what our main character is resisting at this point, because this guy's been full of crap the whole time. He's he's not even running the company. He's just a guy who's got a small part of it because his family owns it, or, you know, something like that. But no, I have to believe that he's telling us the absolute truth. The 6-year-old him created an old a, a Daddy Warbucks style guy who's he can the muscle who's also the figurehead of the company.
Well, and then it makes me wonder. Well, no, I mean, I guess he's a genius if he actually made a synth when he was
Sure,
6 years old. Now,
yeah,
there's been many years between then, and he might have refined it, but he does sell it as this synth was good enough to pass as a human being and my father for the world at large. So presumably he did that.
yeah, and I guess we also assume that his mom went along with this farce.
Yeah, yeah, or
That-
I don't know,
or
maybe
did
Alki Dad,
did Alki Dad kill his mom?
maybe. I mean, as soon as he started talking about like, oh, my dad was an alcoholic, I thought, oh, so you're like the Joker now,
Right.
which then ties into what you were thinking he should have been. Maybe he should have just been like the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, just making up stuff as he goes along.
Do you ever wonder why? Do you ever wonder where I got this synth? They didn't do that.
You ever
And
wonder where I got this writing, how I got this writing gig, how I
uh,
pitched the show?
it just ends up you end up asking far more questions. Did his mom die at the hands of his alcoholic dad, and then he then used his synth to hide the bodies and
Yeah.
to go down and get their names changed and
Well, again, a lot of it's like here's more material left on the table
yeah,
where you go, oh, okay, so what's the story of his mother? Like if you're going to go in and talk about your terrible dad who you know was terrible,
yeah,
not even a line to nod towards the mother to say, and she was too weak, or she ran and she left me with that monster, or she died of frailty, or he
yes.
beat her up, and he threw her down the stairs, and they said she fell, like whatever, like just one line of dialogue. And then if this defining characteristic of his personality is that he has become his father, the man who is full of hate and anger. Again, I feel like I'm writing more than they actually did in the
Oh,
line.
yeah.
But
I mean, at least more than it was executed. Somebody may have a list of attributes to this character that's quite compelling, but we didn't get it in the show. And was his point in that because I think they came up with this much later.
yeah,
Another show would have given him a reason to want to be a better father, or not to fall into those issues, but then discovering at some point he wasn't an alcoholic, but he was a poweraholic, and
mhm,
he ended up falling into all the same traps
perhaps.
of and becoming just as bad of a father figure in a new way that he may realize in season 2.
Right.
The season I'm never gonna watch anyway, but wouldn't it be nice if they went that direction?
And I just feel like the more I'm talking about it, the more I feel like the absence of the mother in this story is maybe where a lot of drama could have resided. Because if he's become his father, well then what was his father's relationship to women, and how does that manifest in what he's doing with this company and creating the synths, or
Right,
like I don't
right.
know, I mean, it doesn't have to be there, but it could be, and there could be something interesting, and right now there's sort of nothing. So
A
I
weirder
vote for
show
my
would have
idea.
a weirder show might have had him create a synth mother that he goes to
Yeah,
and just cuddles up with at night, or maybe, whatever.
right.
I don't know. It's a TVMA, but I feel like they gave us a PG-13 at best show with
Yeah.
the occasional bit of gore. But I think the show that didn't have the alien in it could have explored all this without having to worry about all this alien crap that doesn't amount to much in the long run.
And not just the xenomorph, but just any of those
Any
aliens.
of the aliens, really, because they've all diluted it. Everything just seems to keep diluting what our story could be, which
Yeah,
is
it's
a
all getting in the way of them not exploring all of these concepts that they brought
yeah,
up.
and rather large ones. I mean, even the one that they've theoretically is part of this show. Are these the same characters? Is Wendy really I don't know. I didn't write it down. Whatever her original name was, it was something else that ended in
Yeah, I used to know.
E.
Becky?
Sally. There is a,
I don't know.
it ends in E as well.
Something.
Um, is and they kind of danced like in what the first or second episode when the brother finally sees the sister and realizes who she's supposed to be.
Mhm.
There's a moment where he kind of questions it, but then that
Darcy.
Darcy, yes. So
Yeah.
is Darcy still Darcy? Are any of these characters really those characters? And that could tie into so much of the the parents of the characters that think they're dead, and if they discover they're innocent, will they accept? And now it's sort of artificial intelligence, the Spielberg movie that um,
Well, and then the by not exploring any of that stuff, we're sort of left with they did ultimately. I feel like they put a pin in it to say,
mhm,
okay, this is the. I feel like they came out with a definitive statement in this episode when they say
okay.
they buried the kids. Like
Ye-
that's who I that's
okay.
who I was, or I can't remember what the line of dialogue was, but it was that those
Yes.
kids were buried and we are not them. It was
Okay.
I felt like that, and that's not exactly what they said, but I felt like that was what they were trying to say in the episode
And
in that moment.
I'll give them credit for that, but it wasn't like that we spent 8 episodes of them questioning that.
Agreed. I feel like it's the very least you should do,
Yeah.
but you need to do more than that.
I mean, if they weren't going to go down that route, maybe that's something that could have been pushed into episode 3 or 2 or 3 where they made that choice so that we don't have to think about it and get on with whatever the next thing is.
I mean,
Um,
for
because
having
they weren't
spending
struggling with it. There was no like, am I? They might have every now and again. It's
they
some,
kind of picked around it, but they never
yeah,
like went straight to the heart of the matter.
sure.
And when they oh shit, I was gonna say I
And
can't
what
remember
is the
now.
heart of the matter? By the
That is the heart
way,
of the matter. They yeah, they don't really explore that. They come in at the end and they kind of say, "Oh, this is what's going on." But
mm,
oh, I was going to say that with Wendy and how she can communicate with the aliens. They don't. We've talked about how they don't really explore what that communication is or what kind of conversations they're having.
right,
But that's also all taking time away from this bigger question that
yeah,
you're talking about
hmm,
of the consciousness and who am I and am I that girl
yeah,
and what am I now?
right.
That's none of the I can communicate with aliens has anything to do with that. And it's not even like,
Doesn't
hey,
reinforce the
Wendy, you
themes.
need to be grappling with the big questions. And instead of doing that, you're going down this rabbit hole because you're trying to avoid the big question. Like that could be a way to sort of tie that all in.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's something the brother could have been a part of, or eh, again, I don't even know what the brother's role is anymore, other
yeah,
than
I feel
he's
like moving forward into season two, um and even during this one, it should have been that he is her tether to her humanity. And
uh,
I don't know that they're doing that specifically. I feel like maybe that's what they're doing, but I definitely think that's what they should be doing. And it
mm,
should be more for a show that's very on the nose about the stuff that it's doing. It should be a little more on the nose about him saying, I am, your humanity.
yeah,
Remember who you are, because that's who you. Because even at the end when she says, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not. All these people try to make me all of these different things, and I'm none of
hmm,
those, and I don't know what
hmm,
they are, what I
yeah,
am. That that was still an opportunity for him to say, I know who you are.
you're my
You're my
sister.
sister, and
Yeah,
whatever you're going through,
I'm
you're
still your
still going to
brother.
be my sister. Whatever you're going through, I'm still your brother. I still love you, and I'm the one person on this planet
Eh,
Earth, on this alien Earth,
And
who that's
and
me.
by the way, my birthday is
Me.
next week, and I kind of have a list of things I wouldn't mind. I'd
Right.
really like a
Hey,
strawberry
Texas.
cake and huh?
Texas. Hey, our friend
Oh, Texas
Texas
Taurus.
Taurus has returned.
Yay.
Yeah.
Um, he was out
Oh, I
riding
think you summed
fences.
up in 3 words what we've taken an hour and a
Yes.
half to say.
This could have been a real short podcast if we had just started with that.
Yes.
I don't consider it well, I mean, it's technically a season finale, but
Mhm.
it's no series finale because this falls into an interesting category because it's not running on the engine that a lot of series do, where it's a thing, and now we have to go solve crimes every week. And we've established
Right.
that I'm the old fogey who doesn't understand these new things, and you're the young kid who gets technology and slang, and we somehow my experience, and we're gonna go solve crimes together.
Right. Your
Um,
technology and slang knowledge match with my
right.
experience.
So we don't. It's not the kind of show that runs on an engine like that.
No, but streaming doesn't.
It
For the
does,
most
but
part, you just don't get shows that are, and then we're back to status quo at the end of the episode where you kind of have your formula and then you back to status quo. Maybe you
strangely,
move the bigger football, maybe on the bigger field you move the
mhm,
football a little bit each episode, but it's
it's been a
all
while. That's still that still seems like that's network's realm, and and I'm surprised this. I mean, look, I'm not complaining because I really prefer the novella, the short series, the limited
mhm.
series concept, because you can tell a more compelling story, at least in many cases, maybe not in Alien Earth's
Well,
case.
yeah, well, you could tell a definitive story if you're up to the task. The problem that we end up
Yes,
getting is that because it's streaming, they just want to keep dragging it out, and so I mean, honestly, you look at these 8 episodes. We didn't have 8 episodes worth of material in this? Did we even have 4?
they could have.
I
Well,
mean,
there could have been a feature film version of this.
mhm.
It would have been pared down quite a bit, and maybe it wouldn't have been satisfying. But it, yeah, I think four, because there was a lot of, like, oh my gosh, yeah, it seems like so long ago. I guess it was 8 weeks ago that we were watching, or 7 weeks. So I think we watched the first couple together or something. But do you remember there was a spaceship that crashed into a city at the beginning of the show, and we spent about an episode or two,
Yeah,
like,
it sounds vaguely familiar.
interrupting 18th century pop parties with their wigs, and all of that feels like so long ago at this point, because the show really was all this stuff happening in this complex on this island, like
I
that's where the show takes place.
I'll give him credit, for the, uh, uh, so Kirsch and Morrow.
Yeah,
I still think it was weak the way it was handled,
weak ass.
but yes, so that's the, word on the street, and by the street, I mean the chat, um, that, Morrow is a cyborg, so he is half man and half machine, and so he seems he's this man, in trapped in 2 worlds.
Yes.
Um, and he's up against the synth, who is all machine,
Oh, yes.
and then he ends up having his whole what Casey what's his what to say Casey Jones, is that
His moment where he's like saying that the humans will eventually win because of because of
yes,
will, through
yes,
sheer will. Yeah.
um but I
Yes.
don't so I like that on in general concept, man, half machine. So
Mm.
his humanity is at odds with part of his body that is machine
Okay.
versus machine, right? So I'm
Yes.
all for that, but I don't really feel like that idea of him against the machine was ever really explored in any of the episodes. We see him
No,
download stuff, so we see he's a machine, but struggling with his humanity specifically because he's a machine, that
y
I don't
you
know
know
that
what,
they were delivering.
he never hit a mirror to look at his fractured face in the mirror.
Yeah,
So, it never happened, so I have no idea if he's having any issue struggling with his humanity versus
and
his
for a
machine
show
part.
that is not afraid to dive into the tropes,
No,
that
and that would be a conversation for characters to have, who, because you this whole series kind of runs, uh it, uh, it's greased, its wheels are greased by the idea of whether or not these machines have humanity, whether, because at the very beginning, the episode one, it gave us the synths, the cyborgs, and the hybrids, and I really don't remember who the hybrids are anymore, except I think our kids are hybrids, I
yes,
think.
yes, only our lead.
only our lead. But they don't. I mean, the hybrid in what way? She's because she's got a machine body that's I assume just like the synth body, but it's been
One would
downloaded.
assume.
But her consciousness is brought from a human. Okay,
But then again, it's like, well, what does that mean? And why didn't they explore what that means? Because
I don't know.
did they just download all the binary code of like a brain dump and then they put that in there? Well, that's not a soul. That's just all data replicating what was in the mind. So,
Sure, but then that could be a question that other characters ask. It's a question that Morrow could wonder. It's like, look, I have machine parts. I've been upgraded,
mhm,
and I can do these other things, but I'm still a man.
yeah.
God, I'm still a man. Damn it! And you guys, you think you're real, but you're not. You're just machines that have more data from somebody who died. That the kid in that kid died. He's buried. You're not
Mhm.
that. And they kind of. I mean, they did finally have a character say that. That
Yeah.
I'm not the kid in the ground.
Well,
But
it to playing off of this, say to your
mhm,
point, that monologue would have been much stronger than man will always win over machine if we, because we have the will. Like, okay, that's all good, but
yeah.
that
Was Will ever an
monologue
issue with
doesn't
that?
fit into whatever arc you've been doing here.
No. And again, we haven't seen. Ah, we haven't seen that character struggle with his humanity, even though he's um,
I mean,
kind of like
so
Darth Vader. He's kind of a lot. He's
they
maybe more
did.
machine now.
We did know that he is brokenhearted because he lives forever or for so long that
Oh, when he had a
his daughter
daughter,
died, so he lost
yeah,
his family.
but that comes up very quickly, and then it's tossed away.
And I
And
don't feel like it's and I lost my family because I'm a machine. Now, I guess he
no,
went well, and
it's
it
not.
isn't even because he's a machine, it's because he went into deep space, and so that's
Yay!
what the
He lost his kid because he left to go on a job.
yeah.
So the rest of the show seems like it should be working on this whole what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a machine? And like just maybe even Kirsch jumps in, throws his hat in this into this scenario by wanting, much like Data in the Star Trek series, to become
Mhm.
more human. Like maybe he's trying to be more. Yeah, I don't know. Like you could have all these things crisscrossing, but then they
Yeah.
keep having to just put a godforsaken alien in this show for no
It's like, what does
reason.
that have to do with anything?
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see Morrow struggling with his humanity because the more he is replaced with machines, the less he feels connected to who what he to his humanity.
yeah,
Now, and he's doing things for the company, which he's murdering and he's doing this stuff which is distancing him further from his humanity.
yeah.
So that feels like that's what you want to explore, and it
Yes,
feels like
that
maybe they sort of sketched in that
that's a
direction.
meaty thread. And then he's also up against these, having lost his daughter. Now he's now having to face these children. They're
Mhm.
essentially children's minds who are now in synth bodies, and
Who
maybe
are
part of him
machines.
who are machines, but they've got the minds of these children,
Children.
and maybe one of them reminds him of his own.
Yeah,
Like, does
it's
he want to take on the parental figure with one of them who stands out? I mean, it's a
not to
different
blackmail them
show.
about killing their family, but, as a sort of, like, that he connects to it.
Yeah, but he never struggles with that. Like,
No,
no, in fact, I don't recall what his motivations were anymore. Why is he so uh, tied in with Wayland Yutani?
because they took him off the streets
Oh
um,
yeah,
when he was poor and destitute.
yeah. Well, I mean, that could be that could be part of what his struggle is like he owes something to, and it was the grandmother that I think died, right?
Yeah.
It was
Right,
the
because he went into deep space, so then when he
yeah,
came back, she's dead.
and maybe did we ever get that scene where it's like, "Well, look, my grandmother got you off the street." And I know that it came up,
Yeah.
but did it come up as a now you owe us because you'd be nothing without us? And
N I think it was. I don't think she said it. I think it came out of his mouth.
Mhm. Okay.
His, so that it's the sense of gratitude.
Well,
But I'm not. I'm not.
I might be trying really hard to come up with dimensions that the show is really what wouldn't have changed the show, and it would have made the show better to explore some of these things, obviously. But
Well,
since that's not the show they chose to make, it just becomes like the show we wish we had seen.
right. Well, so with the cyborg, think about like the character line,
Mhm.
or the thematic line where over here you're all human, and then here you're half human and you're half machine, and then here you're all machine, and then here is the hybrid where it's like you humanity inside the machine.
Yeah,
um Maybe those two should be reversed, but taking the character and pushing him through having to confront all that stuff when he is a human who's struggling with the machine.
yeah,
To your point of like he lost his daughter and they didn't really explore the fact that these are kids of the machines. You imagine him sitting in that room surrounded by all of these machine people and their children, and
yeah.
they're acting like children, and like it seems like that would be some level of hell for
It
him,
could have.
or
It
it could
certainly
be,
could have.
I don't know.
I could imagine him running across one of the characters, one of the girls, doing something that reminded him so much of what his daughter used to do at the same age
Yeah.
that it triggers something so profound in him that he's questioning his own existence. But again, that's another movie. Like that's a different
Mhm.
show. It's like somebody might have loved to have done that show on who worked on Alien Earth, but they had to make an alien show,
Yeah.
and and it- so I feel like this happens a lot in
Or
movies.
if he's hates the machine, so he's like, I want to, I want to kill all synths, right? Like
Mm.
he's just like, but then he's confronted with a synth that has a human soul in it, or it has human, like
Oh yeah,
that's where you're pushing the character deeper into confronting whatever his demons are, like, and then
sure,
like, I'm the killer of machines, and then you get to a machine, and then this could tie into your moment that you're talking about, where and then the machine that he wants to kill does something very human that reminds him of his daughter.
yeah.
Maybe it is his daughter, maybe his daughter's in one of these things, I don't know.
Oh wow, that's getting pretty sci-fi in a good way.
Yeah, but it's
Um,
also making the universe very small.
it is,
But
but
you could you could figure out a way to contrive it.
I, I think that these are the kind of concepts I think work better in features than long-term series because
Mhm.
I don't know. I think I could wrap my head around some of those arcs happening in a 2-hour movie more easily than but it was
All right, let's see. Evokio says it was booty cheeks, straight booty cheeks.
I would agree totally.
When it
Yeah,
comes to booty cheeks, I feel that the straight booty
just
cheeks are definitely what were being
I
displayed.
lean in the direction of the straight ones. Um, although I kind of like curved ones too. What I'm going to say, boxy, not my thing.
Oh, great! And then here we have Max. Hi, by the way, hey chat, welcome. Hop in. I'm glad the bulk of you showed up for the booty cheeks conversation. That's
Right, the booty cheeks portion. Uh,
But we always appreciate you stopping by, and please do like and subscribe. Subscription is very key to the whole operation here.
we'll be doing a booty cheeks podcast soon.
Yes, and while we're plugging, watch for that Alien Romulus.
Alien Romulus.
It's coming out this Friday, maybe
Yeah,
Saturday, but this week it's coming out.
you know what? They should do a funny version of this and do an alien rom-comulus where somebody where where one of the aliens has to come home for the holidays. They used to live there when they were younger, but they were just coming back to visit the grandmother. But they get caught. Oh, there's a storm. They can't. There are
Yeah.
no flights out. But they got to have Christmas in the small town.
Mhm.
And somebody I kind of dated, went to the prom with, or thought I was going to the prom with, but I was left,
Planted
and
a face hugger egg in.
we were going to the face hugger dance,
Yeah.
and I got stood up, and now I got to deal with that joker. But it was all just a big misunderstanding.
Ladies and gentlemen, alien rom-com.
Romulus.
Oh, we're having the fun. We have the
Ne-
fun.
Netflix presents. Um, Actually, that could be on Hulu too. They probably would go for
They'd
rom
probably go for that.
The show. So, uh, dare we even take any guesses on where a second season of this? Which I don't think they would have even bothered greenlighting something with this kind of an arc without assuming that there'd be a season two. I, I don't know if every streaming service does this, but I feel like in the past there have been two seasons greenlit pretty much off the bat.
Yeah.
With the idea that they could always pull the plug at any time if it's failing miserably. But I don't have no idea about ratings. I assume that enough people watch this to justify season two.
All right. Season 2,
Hmm
100%.
hmm
Morrow and Kirsch end up being not at odds by
They
the
work
end at
together.
some point. Like they've a common enemy brings them
There,
together.
there's your rom-comulus right
There's
there.
your Rob Communist. So there'll be a common enemy for them, and maybe that common enemy is Wendy or Marcy or whatever, and her people.
Yeah,
So now we've got Utani flying in all the troops, but that means nothing. We know that they can just be dispatched off screen, no problem
you could just send
whatsoever.
because they've got two aliens now, so they
Yeah,
can do twice the damage.
yeah.
What do you think they do with do Arthur and Dame Sylvia get back together now that he's a reanimated corpse? and he sees her with new eyes, with new eye, in ways that he never did before. And
I feel like you want to get that eyeball into Boy Cavalier, and so now the eyeball is now running one of the 5 most powerful entities on the planet.
well, again, we're getting into some high concept stuff
I
that
feel it. I don't feel they do that, but I feel that would be
no,
funny.
no, I think it'd be wonderful. Look, there's a lot of chances they could take with a show like this if they just didn't have to keep going back to a stupid xenomorph every time.
Well, okay, so we've got all of the leads from this season,
Yes.
none of which have to go into season 2, except for Kirsch. He's not there. Oh no, he is. So all of the
Mhm.
leads are in the cage, and
Yes.
the alien is outside with the baby alien, which kind of implies like, come on in, we're going to show you how to feed on the humans,
Right.
or as Bender would say, kill all humans, right? Come
Well,
on,
if they
why
hold
don't you
off
come
for
on in? We can kill all the
killing
humans.
humans, they if they wait 5 minutes, there's going to be the smorgasbord of troops from Weyland Yutani
Yes.
showing up, so you don't have to kill any of our leads
No,
off.
no, like the alien's gonna be getting in there and getting all creepy, putting on its bib and sharpening its knife and fork, and getting
What
all ready to dig in, and then the boom, oh no, like rocks falling of the ceiling. It's we're under attack. And then
as far as I wouldn't even call this isn't a cliffhanger ending. It's not the cliffhanger in the sense that these two things are about to fight, and then we stop and say, stay tuned for
right,
next
right.
season.
No one's hanging off a cliff.
Nobody's hanging off a cliff. They've set up a couple of things, mostly that. I mean, obviously, what we've got here is that the dynamic has shifted, and now the kids believe they're in charge. And by the way, I kept thinking of and I think the comparison to some of the Jurassic Park concepts have come up in the past on this on our discussions on the show, but tonight
Mhm.
felt even more so. When at one point somebody, maybe Boy Cavalier himself, said, "Well, look, we've evacuated all non-essential personnel," so they basically said. We don't have to worry about extras for the rest of this, and it is also on an island. And I
Yeah.
thought, the only thing they need is a storm coming
Right.
that's going to keep them. Nothing can come in or go out. But I think the storm that they might be implying is a bunch of troops from Weyland Yutani.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but moving into the next season, um, I don't see this playing out any. I'm not compelled. I'm not compelled, of course, to see the next season for a
No.
lot of reasons, but certainly not the least of which is how this one has
Well, Boy
ended.
Cavalier lives or dies, and if he dies,
Mhm.
what happens to his company? So that could all be interesting because
Yes.
him and his figurehead are both done. They would not know how to. I don't know that I'd know how to, really play that out. But it feels like
No.
that's like what you could do. Season 2, one of the things
Mhm.
is Prodigy falling apart, and
Yes.
the 4 other companies coming in to cannibalize it, and whatever's going on. So like that could be a the environment in which all this stuff is going on.
It could be, but I don't foresee a season, even if that happened, where that has any implications that I would find dramatically interesting, because it would all happen off screen,
Oh
and
yeah, and
there's nothing at
again,
stake.
I don't think this series is capable of exploring that. But that is the question that is asked
Right.
once Boy Cavalier is gone. Well, what happens with this company?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could just as easily create a character, and she's, the real cutthroat person who is just below him, and you're
Mhm.
looking for the perfect opportunity, and troop, she swoops in, and now she's running the company, and then you
Yeah.
don't even have to think about it or worry about it. It's just now her
Sure.
company.
Well, in considering how the season one is fairly contained in, aside from the the 1 or 2 episodes that took place at a
Mhm.
crash site, it's been mostly taking place in a limited location on an island. And I have to assume that um, that season two is going to be somewhat limited in the same way. Maybe not on the same island. Maybe they change locations, but that their
Maybe
limitations are going to continue as
Right,
far
so
as
maybe in
selection goes.
season 2, they could accidentally get locked in a storage shed, and it could take place in the shed.
Yes, your the further character studies. Well, I always liked, you remember the Lost show, right? You saw some
Sure.
season. The engine that ran Lost wasn't merely that they were on this mysterious island. The engine that ran Lost was that they went into very interesting flashbacks on all these characters that gave them all context.
Right.
Um, I don't think you can do that on a show like this, but as far as shows that are on an island go, that was always compelling, right? And
Yeah.
then they'd come out of that, and much like X-Files would occasionally move that central theme a little bit more forward, like on are there aliens,
Yeah,
are there
yeah, yeah.
not? But then they do Monster of the Week or whatever, and then they come back. But Lost, and I don't know why I'm going off on Lost, except that
It's an
it's a
island.
much better show, obviously,
Sure.
and um, a much more lush show that looks super good on the giant TV. And it was also 15 or 20 years ago now. And it's like we haven't really gone much further. And that maybe didn't end so well either, but for several seasons it was completely compelling. And
Mhm.
and because those characters got richer and richer with all of their backstories. These characters don't have a we haven't gotten much backstory on any of them to care too much. So what happens to the next is, as far as I know, they've only existed from about 5 minutes before the show started
Well, it's
to
funny too, because you could, when you talk about the budgetary concerns of the show, you could do flashbacks that are very contained, and that could eat up a lot of time while also adding depth to the characters.
sure, yeah,
But they don't. But I do want to say, so we have. I mentioned, okay, the issue with Boy Cavalier
yeah.
if he lives or die. But let's just sort of quickly just hit all of the characters that are in the cage. Would they return? Should they return? I'd say Dame Sylvia. I'm going to say no. I don't really see what her function is from this point forward, unless it's a question of she's now the expert that they bring in because they're trying to outwit these hybrids or track these hybrids down, and so you need somebody who has some sort of personal understanding of them, maybe. But that could also
Maybe.
be some random character they create who's like, we've been working on synth technology.
I keep thinking that somehow there I don't think the show knows know what to do with her, but not that I would, but I feel like Dame Sylvia was one of the more sympathetic characters that could try to uh, be the mother that they don't currently like to be the mother character to these
Well,
characters.
that's certainly what she was supposed to be,
She was
and then
supposed to
apparently
be,
was not by the end.
and I don't feel like that ever played out in any kind of a natural way where all of a sudden all of them decided. Like I can see
Right.
why Nibs is mad because she had her memory erased, but um, does Curly have an issue with
Well, I guess the
this?
conceit
Does
is
he?
because she erased Nib's memory,
Yeah,
she could do that to any one of them, and it could have been them. It just happened to be Nibs, and so they can't trust her anymore. I guess that's the beef with her.
I guess, but
But is
they
she
could.
relevant for a season 2? Or is the alien going to get in there and eat anybody before the ceiling starts falling in from the Yutani attack?
I,
I mean, Kirsch he's gold. They're gonna fix his back and he'll be up and running, or they'll put his head in a jar and they can do it that way.
he almost seems like the character that could be because he's been somewhat ambiguous in some ways with even with his motivations for stuff.
Did you
What do you
notice?
think?
Oh, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say, do you what do you think Kirsch was after in this season? What was his goal?
Yeah,
Because he
wouldn't
seemed to
that be
not.
great? Wouldn't it be
It,
nice if he had a goal and that it
it
was
would be
clear
nice.
that it was developed for? I was going to say this is actually a good segue that he did develop in his journey of sciencing, because
Mhm.
rather than just looking at things or having the clipboard,
Yeah.
today he used like the little welder. And then I think he was making that sort of bubbly rope that he then wanted people to tie the
Oh,
Moro up
I
with.
think that was the part I fell asleep during.
I don't know what was
I
going on.
thought he was doing another quilt.
Yeah.
Um, the with the names of the fallen characters that have already gone. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, with Kirsch, what was he trying to accomplish? I don't know. I do think that they painted him as ultimately a loyal character, so he
Mhm.
is loyal to Boy. I don't know why, when he is so smart and Boy is
Plus,
acting so dumb.
and he was also hiding stuff from Boyd too. So,
Yeah, but
but not was it for his own good? I don't know.
it was it yeah, but then he was hiding it from him at the end of that episode, and in the beginning of the next episode, he immediately revealed it all to Boy. He's like, "Oh yeah, come into the lab. This is what's been going on. Oh,
Oh,
here, you got to watch the thing that
yeah,
I watched in the end of last episode."
yeah. So I don't know.
So,
I
and
don't
then
know.
ultimately we were like, "Oh, what's his sneaky plan?" And his sneaky plan was to stop Morrow and get the escaped alien. So he's seems to be loyal to Boy and the company. It would be nice if he did have an ulterior motive, if he was building to some larger agenda. But I don't think there's any evidence from this season that would indicate that that's the case.
Like, was he ultimately trying to save the kids from? Kirsch has no motive. Yeah, I don't. Nothing obvious. But I don't want to wait around for a season 2 to find out what it might be.
What
Um,
was he even doing in the lab while it was imploding? What? I've got a better question, KD. What is he ever doing in the lab? Ever? I mean, he's always in there. I
he's.
cannot on my board anymore. He
I
goes,
think he's been.
I am doing this.
Brian, I think he's been testing clipboards this whole
He's
time.
been
Not.
testing. He's been doing like failure testing. Okay, the writers
Yeah.
literally have no clue what anyone was going to do. I think you're right. I definitely feel that way. Let's see. We got something else from KD here. That plan was pure luck. Well, the plan when he stopped Morrow and got
That
the alien. The
we
fact
talked
that he was
about this
able to just
last week.
snatch that alien with the little net or whatever was so absurd.
We talked about this last week with whenever these shows have this scenario where characters walk into a room and then they're all of a sudden trapped because like everybody's waiting with guns,
Yeah.
and it relies so much on assuming that they're going to go into that room or something along those lines.
Right. To Katie's point, it's like there's no way he could have known that stuff with Morrow would have gone down like it did. Which is what you're saying. It's like you got all this like, boy, the
No,
timing is dead on,
well,
and it relies on a lot of moving parts that you don't have control over.
it happened in tonight's episode very early on when the dread pirate Dame Sylvia showed up to the graves, and an alien almost got her.
Yeah.
But then the army people showed up just in time, and they, I think they shot the alien, although I don't think the alien suffered much from it, and it certainly didn't bleed acid to give her a nice pirate scar, to
Right.
give her what they used to call the Tahitian tattoo, which is from the gunpowder blasting back into your face. Uh,
Ah.
and but we didn't get any of that. So I don't know if they know what to do with any character
Now,
per
now,
se, but
KD, if you're still here, was there anything about not I want it doesn't even have to be this episode. It could be out of the whole first season. Was there anything that worked for you that stood out? You're like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Was there any of that? And I'm saying, KD, if anybody else wants to jump in here, obviously you're welcome
can I
to
bring
do
up
so.
while Katie's considering that, how good is the hearing on these aliens? Because I fe- I feel like Wendy can just do a little thing that nobody really even in the room notices or hears, and somehow it's in that frequency that can just travel through solid walls out into the jungle and through the pipes,
I, I
and
don't I don't
the
even
alien
think that
comes a running.
I don't even think that dog frequency can make it through the pipes and the jungle. I think
No, no, and that's silly because, and okay, here's something that I don't think either one of us have ever uh, did Kitty have a night comment?
I said, "Cool, yes." Did I like it? No.
Right.
And he also says, Wendy Sue ruined the show for me.
Wendy Sue. Well, we did talk
Ah,
about that early on, that
yeah,
she is the
that's good. We did not coin that phrase though. Wendy Sue. That's a nice play on the words there, Katie. Oh,
yes.
sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
Um, I don't know if it's just the way my TV runs down here, and the occasional lag on uh, on my streaming. Are you seeing this sort of effect sometimes in the show where, Wendy does something or says something and the background sort of starts to wobble in a weird way?
Oh, I had not noticed.
I'm starting. I noticed it and I wanted to
But
bring it
I'd
up.
eaten some potatoes before I watched too. So
Nice callback. Um, eh, eh, it really actually could be that in this is a viewing room we have in the, on the mezzanine level, I might say, which is not necessarily so far. It's not close to my router, and I'm starting to wonder if that effect that I keep thinking that I'm seeing might actually be a weird, artifacting situation. But it
it's
does
gonna
only seem to
go ahead.
happen around Wendy when she's talking or doing something, and she has the ability to affect electronics and whatnot. And I thought
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
that was,
it does do a weird thing when she's touching the screens where it's kind of a and
but
I believe 901 air roll, right? Am I
yes,
getting this right? Believes the show sucked. I don't think you're gonna get a lot of argument against
no,
your position here at the
that,
Everything is Mid live after show.
not much pushback on that. But I do again when you say, go ahead,
Wendy
Brian.
Sue is Ray, Daenerys, Ellie, and from okay. TLOU. Ellie from TLOU. Ellie. The Lost. No. You're gonna have to spell it out. I want to
Actually,
say
I don't
it's one of
know.
the dinosaurs things. Wasn't that the
I bet the first is the TV. Is it the?
oh, it's Ellie from The Last of Us, of course. Yes, The
Ah,
Last of Us.
I never played
Oh,
it.
yeah. I gotta say, huge fan of the game, the first one.
Yes,
Could not bring myself to crack open the second one after I heard the direction they had taken it. Um,
understandable.
and then I wanted to watch the show because I thought, oh, this is really cool. They're going to dramatize all this stuff.
Yes,
I cannot stand the actress that they cast as Ellie.
yeah. I know
I
that she's
find her
been.
so visually off-putting. And then
I,
on top of that, the way they
mhm,
wrote her character, you back me
didn't
up on
help.
this, KD. Am I right? And then the way they wrote her character, she
Yeah.
was so obnoxious. And we only
Insufferable is probably
it's
the word that I like to
insufferable.
use so much lately.
Yes.
I haven't seen the show, I never played the game, but I've seen pictures of the actress, and I do feel bad that people might be giving her a hard time over just her look. Um,
Now, KD,
eh,
did you watch any of it, or did you? Did you throw yourself on that grenade?
Did you take one for the team?
If you hated Alien Earth, you'll axe yourself for watching that. Probably. I want to go back and make sure I get all of your comments on this one. So you're saying it's absolutely ridiculous, the whole
And I'll be
Wendy's
right
deal.
back.
Okay, could you do that? So controls. Oh yeah, she controls all computers, aliens, other hybrids, and yeah, I mean, and Atom, who was a synth, right? So she controlled him. She has, you're right, she has no regard for human life. What an amazing character. Yeah, it's they seem to not understand what a hero is supposed to be. Now, Katie, I'm gonna add a special request. Please check out my my Alien Romulus review. It's finally gonna drop. It's gonna drop this weekend. Please check it out and give me a comment and let me know what you think, because explore some of this stuff, some of these themes that we're only scratching on here, that I think you'll appreciate it based on the stuff I'm reading. And by reading, I mean that you're writing. If you hate it, yes. So yeah, with The Last of Us, I could only get only a few episodes in, and that was the end of it. Let's see, Romulus was a treat of a show as well. Yeah, it was. I will, the credit I will give to Romulus is that the director has an effective understanding of pacing, as far as just, you know, action and horror and getting you through things. And it delivers a lot of the kinds of moments that you want to see in a movie, like you know, in an action adventure sci-fi horror thing. It gives you the kind of moments you want, but I don't think that it understands how to tell a story beneath that. And so as a result, you get it's similar to what you get here, but this is, I find this to be far worse. The Alien Earth is, for all of Romulus's faults, and it has many, and I ultimately do not endorse it as a movie, it's still, I would watch that 100 times again before I would ever watch this show. I would never rewatch an episode of Alien Earth. At least there was no black goo. Yes, that's true. That was just nostalgia bait. I mean, they have the black goo. Oh, you mean here in Alien Earth, right? Because they do have the black goo in Romulus.
Did they have black goo in Romulus?
They had the goo in Romulus.
I'm gonna watch, and your review on that is just like right on the cusp of being dropped for the world.
Yes, it is right. To this I can't say I'm just doing the finishing touches, because I'm still trying to get across the line, but
But you're not doing beginning touches either.
No, I'm not doing the beginning touches. I'm in the 7th inning stretch.
All right.
So
Well,
it's definitely coming
look forward
together.
to it. But I should I watch it again before you review, or should I wait to watch it? I should probably watch it before, right?
I think you should. Yeah, if you are actually considering or up to watching it again,
Yeah,
I'd say watch it before.
okay.
And that way it'll all be fresh in your mind when I'm talking about the stuff that's not just in it, but then the stuff that I change.
I think what I mostly recall, and this might be a positive, is that I mostly remember the things that I liked about it more than the things I hated, or hate or disliked, I should
Yeah.
say. So in my mind, it's not nearly. I'm now look. This Alien Earth is fresh in my memory now because we just sat through the final episode of the first
Well,
season. So any negative reaction I'm having is so palatable right now. I can taste it on every
well,
little
I
every little
definitely
bud.
I definitely put Alien Earth as the absolute bottom of the Alien franchise barrel.
But below Alien versus Predator,
Yes.
really interesting. Because
Yes.
those movies knew what they were, and they.
I don't. Yes, I no, definitely. I mean, the first one, I do think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm not advocating for it, but I do think that they also understood their character's journey, and they
Oh,
did it.
okay.
You
Okay.
know, it's not great.
No. No.
But it understood what it was, and so
Mhm.
I'd say it's like a B movie. I think it kind of succeeds in that way.
I would
Whereas
agree.
this doesn't want to be a B movie.
No,
Alien
it's
Earth wants to
aiming.
be a heady intellectual process,
It does
and
very
it
much
doesn't
so.
understand what that is, and it failed in trying to do that. So I
Well,
definitely,
much like Yelp reviews, you, movie reviews often rely on. Uh, it doesn't compare a high budget movie that misses the mark to a super low budget that got it just right.
yeah,
You're getting like a great B movie is going to get a good review versus a mediocre A movie is going to get a lower review. So, Alien versus Predator is probably a popcorn film by comparison.
yeah,
This is trying to be the Chateaubriand,
yes,
but but it was the ingredients were all messed up and it burned horribly, horribly in the oven.
yeah. Alien versus Predator was a cheap beer, and so it knew how to or like a cocktail.
Yes. What do you
You
think
know,
I've been having to go to
yeah.
the
Yeah, but it understood, what it was trying to do. Yes,
yeah.
see, that's the Alien Earth of the things. No, I mean, Aliens versus Predator is the Coors Light, is the silver bullet of stuff. Whereas
Okay.
Alien Romulus wants to be a fancy wine and is sour grape juice.
Yes.
So Romulus was just a treat because it reminds you of all the things. Yes, it definitely, but
That is what I remember about many of the things that I did like about it was that it did feel like it existed in the universe in a way that this Alien Earth does not feel like it exists in the same universe as
no.
Alien.
And but then you and I were discussing that, so it's a double-edged sword. So,
It's a
that's what
strength
they like
and a
about it,
weakness.
but they went way overboard on.
Way overboard, yeah,
So,
right, with Ash and the original Alien, but that I assume I think if I remember correctly, they found the original Alien out in space somewhere, and that's what they are looking at when at some point in a lab is the actual original alien from
actual
Alien.
original Alien, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that.
No, no. Let's see. So, Alien versus Predator would have been great too if it was rated R. But yeah, they knew what they wanted out of that movie.
Was that was
When
PG-13?
Yeah, I'm guessing based on this comment, which makes sense because they wanted it to have broad appeal and they wanted to bring in a teen market, I
It came
imagine.
in at a time when Hollywood was actually having a pretty good run of quite good horror-esque movies that were PG-13, and I'm gonna say I think that the American remake of The Ring might have been a PG-13 film,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well as some other things that oh, those, they were made on the super cheap, those, uh, it's like it's all found
Oh, no.
footagey kinda stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, the potatoes are starting to kick
Oh,
in.
boy. Eh, I don't recall some of the names. There was a super, super low budget. It was for a long time, it was touted because it cost like $2 to make, and it was all like security footage in a house, but it was
Oh,
a haunted
oh,
house.
oh, oh, yeah, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. I think a lot of those were PG-13, and so everybody was probably trying to get the PG-13 rating for a while there. And again, this show was a PG-13 show. There was nothing about this aside from the occasional gore moment, which most of those happened off screen, but occasionally they did do something kind of gory
Yeah,
on
and it was always superfluous. You could always
it.
cut it. It doesn't
Cut it
it doesn't
easily.
matter.
This really would have played better because they're not taking on super adult themes. They're not taking on like there are movies that they don't have to have an R rating. They get R for just because they don't want. It's not like there's gore. It's just that adult themes create an R rating
Yeah.
sometimes. This one does not have super heady adult themes like concepts that are going to be.
No, it sort of nods in those directions, but it never explores them in an adult
But
way.
what it does do occasionally is have a guy cut in half trying to crawl his way across a floor that
Right.
didn't need to be there because it doesn't add to the tension. It doesn't add to
I guess it
the
adds to the
fear.
horror in theory.
Yes, but like horror is not just gore. There are horror movies that have very little actual gore that Thank you. uh, that that I forgot what my train of thought was, but this one again.
It did. These things didn't add to it. Now,
No.
I do wanted to see. Katie was pointing out that he believes that Alien Earth thinks it's way smarter than it actually is. It's an Alien 3 resurrection territory. What do you say to that, Phil?
If he's referring to Alien 3 Resurrection territory as being like lower tier,
As thinking it's smarter than it actually is.
the Alien 3 is such a all I can think of with Alien 3 is knowing so much about its production nightmares. And Resurrection is such an we talked about this last round because two great filmmakers. You'd think that those would line up. Like if Fincher made an Alien movie today, it'd probably knock it out of the park, right? Because they'd let him do what he wants to do, and it would probably be super well done.
Sure, one would hope. Yeah,
And Jean, I can't remember his name, from Delicatessen and
right.
Amelie and many other great
Oh, that's
films.
right. He's the Amelie guy too.
You'd never think that the Amelie guy is gonna, but it's Delicatessen was so stylized, and I could see why the powers that be would say, you know what, let's give this guy a chance. Or actually, it was a team. Let's give them a chance. They're going to bring some weird European flavor to it, which they did bring a weird European flavor to it, but it's not any. It doesn't, and it has our favorite Brad Dourif.
That's right. We did cover this, didn't we?
Yeah.
But as far as it being smart, thinking it's smarter than it actually is, I'm going to say my recollection of it is that is accurate. But it's been a while since I've seen it, and
I don't think.
I'd still say compared to, and that being the case, compared to Alien Earth, I'm still going to say that it's better than Alien Earth.
Yes. Yes. Although it is apples and elephants in some ways because it's hard to compare a feature with a series, especially a series that's
No, it's easy. It was better. All right, next we're
for sure. Look, I look forward because I got the box, well, not the box set, but I had to
yeah, you got
replace
that set with all them. You got that set with all them movies in it, eh?
all them everything except Romulus, I think. But I gotta say, I will probably look. It's been what 25 years since I've seen Alien Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lot about it, but I don't remember thinking it was particularly great, and not an improvement over 3, really.
Yeah. Well, and yeah.
I don't think it
Let's
thinks
go
it's
back
super
to
smart.
the. I'm sorry. What?
I don't think Alien Resurrection thinks it's very smart. I think Alien 3 is an attempt to maintain an elevated concept through really good performances and a really good cast, but it fails on so many other levels. Resurrection is just a kind of a weird, grotesque popcorn film.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is Resurrection? No, Resurrection's 4, isn't it?
yeah.
Right. Yeah. That one's odd. But let's go on to so why Peter Pan? There was not payoff on that stupid theme they kept drilling into the show. They did really go out of their way
They
to
wore out
really
3
hammer that.
hammers. They wore out 3 hammers beating that and I did notice that they stopped. I guess their Disney budget ran out. Like one division of Disney. You well know this.
Yes, I do.
If you're one department of Disney and you need to get some music, if you want to use When You Wish Upon a Star and stick it in Darkwing Duck, you got to pay the same amount that. Did we lose me?
Yeah, we did. It's not me. It's you.
No signal. Is this our breakup, Brian? It's not me, it's you.
Not me, it's you.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wonder if my camera actually conked out.
It seems that way.
Now let me just switch up here to the lesser camera.
But yeah, to your point that you were saying is that Disney, you can't just use Wish Upon a Star for your cartoon. You got to buy it from that other division. You got to
buy
it from
it, and I think you probably buy it for the same amount that you would an outsider would, which is probably quite a bit. So it makes me wonder if they ran out of budget because they stopped showing scenes from the original Peter Pan, and then they must have really run out of money because they couldn't even show anything from Ice Age.
Now, bringing this up,
Mhm.
I'm thinking about it because they did. I'm getting more angry now. I'm getting. Oh,
Yeah, where's the light? Oh no! Oh,
um, yes, we have the fun. No, it gets me angry thinking about how stupid it is that. So then there's the big moment where she says, "Yeah, I realize, you're not really Peter Pan. You're just your angry father or whatever." And the reason that's making me angry is because they only introduced the concept of his father like 30
4 minutes
seconds before
before, yeah,
she got to punch him in the mouth with it.
yeah.
So it's so amateur. It's crazy that this guy is a professional writer in Hollywood. Like, this isn't his first thing out of the gate. It's crazy.
No.
So yeah, that's the fact. As when she started, she said, "You're not Peter Pan." I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be interesting." Like, oh, so what? So is he Captain Hook? Is he the crocodile? Like, what's it gonna be? And it's like, no, it's just not that metaphor at all. It's this new thing that we threw out into the show 30 seconds ago. It's like, oh,
Fist of Rage.
it's
Son of
Fist of
Fist of
Rage,
Rage.
son of Fist of Rage. The franchise is plagued with a true identity crisis.
I would
Yes,
agree.
I agree with you 100%, KD.
Yeah.
They don't know if they want a horror, thriller, action, or deep sci-fi film or show. They just try to do them all at the same time. Yes.
Well, that's been a lot of what we talked about today, this evening, especially uh, with the idea that the show could have been a better show had they been able to do something. They weren't. Somebody sold a show called Alien Earth, right?
Yeah.
And with the promise of that premise, you're going to have an alien on Earth. But the show that he also tried to make um, was something attempting to be quite deeper in meaning and more of an existentialist concept, and which is common in the sci-fi world. And it just Peter Palians, Peter
Amelia.
Palians. That so you end up trying to make three or four shows at once because they wanted to make Aliens by having the
Mhm.
troops. They wanted to make Alien with the alien. In fact, they remade Alien for that one episode. They just basically remade Alien, but not as well.
Yeah, I don't really like Covenant and that stuff because it's getting heady
Hmm.
and dreary, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
That stuff didn't really. And before I get onto your comment here, hang on, I'll hide it so we don't get distracted. Um, I think that's one of the successes of Alien Romulus, if
Hmm.
I could say,
Yeah,
is that it trying to do all those different genres, it figured out the target. It tried to cull what it thought all of the elements from the franchise that make Alien what a good Alien movie is. It
yeah.
culled all of that stuff and delivered that.
Okay.
So I'd say that it's a success in that regard, and I give it credit because clearly
Hmm.
the director and who's the writer, that's what he was going for. I think he hit that target.
Yeah.
I just think that the show needed to the movie needed to also hit deeper into that target and be more than just the surface of that target. Um,
If I could compare this to in a musical way,
I was hoping you would.
there's a band I actually kind of like called Greta Van Fleet. Greta Van Fleet sounds almost indistinguishable from Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
That's been their biggest critique. Now it's part of what makes them good is that, like, oh, you like that Zeppelin sound? Well, like, guess
Mhm.
what? Uh, we almost think that in the future you would just ask AI to play you a brand new Zeppelin song and you'd get Greta Van Fleet. Um, I was listening to a podcast by, if you ever heard of The Darkness, is a very fun band from the 90s that sang, Do You Believe in a Thing Called Love? It's a very, it, is- it, he's actually kind of an interesting guy. He said in his critique of Greta Van Fleet, it's like, well, their obvious influence is Zeppelin, so they sound exactly like Zeppelin. Our influence was that I think you need more than that. Our influence as the Darkness, we wanted to be Queen and AC/DC, so we
Okay.
brought two things together. So if you're going to be in this world of Alien, I think you have to bring more than just one film into it.
Hmm.
But any more than two, and you start to dilute it past what if you start to bring in Blade Runner, Aliens, uh, and other things you were into from some other sci-fi series uh, or concept, you end up just everything gets washed down to its thinnest
Yeah,
uh,
and you don't really get an
parts.
opportunity to properly explore any of the elements.
No, they're not. But they are trying to be 10 bands at once.
So
Instead of,
robot preteens go through puberty while aliens are in the same building.
is
I
what we
think
thought.
I think you know what I think, Katie? I think that was the pitch. That's what
That
sold it. All right. Hey, sit down, big studio heads. We got it for you. Robot preteens go through puberty while aliens are in the same building.
it's like almost like a weird Big Brother with a horror concept.
Yeah, let's see. So Covenant and Prometheus had so much potential to. I agree. What a shame they went down the creator's black goo route. Yeah, I think that's really that's really the issue.
Well,
Now we
that's
have the
the
adventures of Wendy Sue and the Lost Bots, sponsored by Ice Age.
very true. Very very astute. Um,
Yeah, I think when I
the
get off of this, I'm going to start watching his podcasts. I'm going to see
sounds
what
good.
Katie's got in there.
One of the issues that the Alien franchise has had that the Star Wars franchise has also had is that with every new installment, the universe gets smaller and smaller.
Mhm.
And one of the things I loved about the original Alien, as I've said probably 100 times since we started discussing the show, is
Oh,
how
have you seen the original Alien? You a fan?
I meant to see it. I've seen bits and pieces. The that world feels large, like that space is large,
Mhm.
and it's unknowable. I feel like the part of what the mystery that keeps you coming back to is I don't know what that space jockey is doing in there. It's an alien. It's very alien. The ship
Right.
looks alien. The how it flies seems alien. What these eggs are doing there, and the whole like what do these aliens do? They go in, they burst out. It's god awful. It's horrific. And every time they return to it, and this is even true in Aliens, which is still a great movie. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but they've turned them sort of into an insect hive with a queen,
Mhm.
so it's becoming more knowable.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, eh, everything that Ridley Scott's done with it since. Well, now it's just okay. The engineers created, I don't know. Okay, and then they're just guys in helmets, and that's what the space jockey is. Is just a guy in helmet. It does. I don't buy that. I don't, and I can choose
Yeah.
as a viewer to say no, thank you. That's not what this is. I'm just going to go back to the original film,
But
and
enough about Disney Star Wars. We were talking about Alien.
that it becomes Boba Fett is Jango Fett's thing, and he was a clone, and everybody and midichlorians. It just becomes the universe gets smaller and smaller and
Yeah.
smaller until everybody's related, and it's just dumb. It, it's not expanding into
No.
uh, strange and unusual places, even though with at any given moment it might seem to be. Alien. Uh, God, what was the not Covenant? What was the one before that?
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
Mm.
Prometheus wasn't it almost could have existed in that universe without having to tie so directly into uh, the rest of the franchise, and it
Yeah.
almost does that. Um, and I think it maybe on some level it succeeds, even though I ultimately didn't like that film either. Looked
Mhm.
very good. The amazing perform again. The great actors,
It's
great
always the
performances.
script. It's always the
It's
script.
always the script. It's always the script. And that one suffers, but boy, you do have, and I wonder if they're trying to create Kirsch as a similar character to the David character in that David always seemed like you didn't know how you felt about him.
Yeah, he was always unknowable and creepy.
He's almost the most alien thing in Prometheus, because you're never comfortable with him, even though you're trying so hard, and it's part of it is the charisma of the actor. Fassbender is an extraordinary performer, and his motivations as an android, and I feel like they're trying to do that with Kirsch, and then that's another thing to support Katie's comment that they're trying to do this, and this, and this, and this. Well, they're also kind of doing Prometheus by giving us Kirsch, whose motivations are sometimes ambiguous.
Yeah, no,
he's a
I
compelling actor.
I think that's a valid point, that maybe the reason that he's so not wishy-washy, but mysterious, the fact that we don't, like, there's clearly stuff going on, but we don't know that I think you're right. I think they're going for that David vibe. I think they're failing because I think they just make him confusing rather than
right. Yeah, and it took a second film for us to have a better idea of how we were supposed to think of David. But I don't want to wait for a second season to decide how I feel about Kirsch.
No, I think we should decide right now and wrap it up.
What do you say,
Kirsch? We thumbs up or thumbs down? We like him? Do we trust him?
Kirsch. Someone's just going to pitch a Kirsch, a Kirsch offshoot, a spin-off.
Ali.
Kirsch you.
Kirsch. All right.
Well, on that note.
So ultimately, yeah, Alien Earth, not so great.
Not so great. But
not a. I mean, at least they ended it, sort of,
with a very undefined, ambiguous, uninteresting, and uncompelling. Certainly doesn't make me want to tune in for the second season, because I don't know if I care where this goes, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
but I will say that it's well cast, and the performances were excellent, and the art direction was generally quite good.
Yeah, and hey, if you folks are interested in hearing Phil and I ramble on about something else, let us know. We're gonna cook something up. We'll be back.
I can't wait to ramble on about even nothing. If there's
which
a show
is kind of what Alien Earth has been, I think.
I think it's a whole lot of talk for, that there's something seriously wrong if we can spend 2 hours or 2.5 hours talking about a 48-minute show.
And not in a good way.
No.
All right. Well,
it's
Phil,
been a joy.
I always appreciate you taking the time out to hang out.
You're an officer and a gentleman, and I do think we should just do Flash Gordon next.
I think it'll be Flash Gordon. All right. And yeah, if you guys hadn't figured it out, you're supposed to watch my Alien Romulus review.
Alien Romulus. I can't wait. Yeah. What's our time frame? Sometime in the next week?
Oh, yeah. Friday, Saturday. I'm getting it out by the weekend. So you better start doing your rewatch.
I can't wait.
And for everybody else, or for all you savvy viewers out there, or all you viewers, stay savvy. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. I should write it down. It's a good tagline. I'm feeling good about it.
Stay savvy. Is there a way to work the word mid into it?
If there is, I should probably do that too.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.